I gotta start like 3 streams at the same time. All right.
We always put Doomcock in the corner.
No, we put Doomcock in the corner.
Yes, no, we put Doomcock in the corner every week. Also, Grace Randolph is frequently in there.
Yeah, I saw her the other day. We should do a show together.
All right, guys. So that's about 20 seconds behind.
I'm not even gonna look at it. I'm here in the room.
Force, Luke.
The first time we've all been on the podcast together.
Yes.
Yeah. Usually I'm not.
Hey everybody, what is happening? My name is Brian, that is Shane, and that is Vader, and that is Kadish, and that is Reagan, and that is Alex. Everyone's here today. Welcome to Unleashed Thursday. This is truly unleashed because there's literally like 7 people here today. Shane, friends, what's going on, man?
Yes. Listen, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it all the way. It's just the way it is.
Gotta do it hard.
No, it's been an interesting week here. Welcome to everybody in the chat. Thank you for being here. I have been Brian's been hardworking at home, and I've been playing with all of our YouTube community people, and we're here in the Salty Nerd podcast studio, right?
Yeah.
And this is a beautiful, amazing. If you guys look around, we have never looked so professional. And I think everybody who's been here this week, Jeremy, Geeks and Gamers, Nerdrotic, Mr. Reagan, who else do you guys have in here?
Chris Gore.
Yep. They all sat here and said, "Oh my God, I look like a professional YouTuber," because these guys have the best studio I have ever seen. So huge shout out to everybody here: Alex, Kadish, Vader, Jude, who's not here.
Drunk 3PO farted in my chair. I'm not really happy about it.
Well, I'm sorry about that too.
Sorry,
It's lingering. Huh?
it's
Watch, you have to go and let it linger.
Come on,
Isn't that a
guys.
song? That's a song from the 90s.
The Cranberries. Yes, it is.
You guys are gonna regret.
All right, all right.
Not at all. He's the one running it. Okay, so let me tell the whole story here, Brian. I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody.
Go ahead.
So we came out here for a really great event. A lot of you guys, we had pitched it originally as being like, we're going to show all 10 episodes of Picard and do this like theater event on top of the Nerdrotic meetup. But of course, CBS said, you're not going to do that. And so we ended up doing something different. We ended up getting the Salty Nerd guys rented a theater, gorgeous theater. And Robert Meyer Burnett showed his free Enterprise and then did a Q&A. Then we got to watch Chris Gore's Attack of the Dock, and then he did a Q&A. It was like a really huge, big deal event. In fact, I got to sit, I think No Money G, one of our guys out there, got to meet him, one of our fans, and spent some time watching the movie with him. That was fantastic. He's awesome. Then last night we had the meetup with Nerdrotic's meetup, which was completely ridiculous. There were, I don't know, 300 people in a space of like 100 people should be there probably. And everybody was there, and it was absolutely fantastic time. So yeah, it's been an interesting week, and CinemaCon's going on, so we have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, first off, El Presidente Camacho for $10 before the stream even started. My dude, thank you.
Thank you, El Presidente.
Yeah, so today is going to be a little bit different because we got a lot of people on Shane's side. Shane is in Vegas with the Salty Nerd guys. But that doesn't mean we're not doing the show similar to regular Thursdays. Although they heard you guys arguing and cursing during the pre-roll.
Yes.
So
nice. Well, now you know how it really goes behind the scenes.
That's something. Listen, what
I warned you all. Didn't I warn you?
did.
So,
Yeah.
hey guys, we're going live.
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up, kid. We're fine.
Whoa.
And
Oh, am I not allowed to
demonetized.
swear on your thing? My bad.
This is
Sorry.
a PG.
You need
stream.
the bleeping bunny. The bleeping bunny.
Sorry.
Okay, so what we are talking about today, we're talking about Star Trek Legacy. We just dropped a video right before we went live. That is,
Really?
yeah, it's live, by the way. My bad, I forgot to tell you,
thanks.
Shane.
Okay.
Pretty tailor-made. I would say the proof is in the pudding. It's almost a fact that Star Trek Legacy is happening, and we're going to be talking about that today. In addition to some of the stuff that happened in Vegas at CinemaCon that these guys were at. I was over here working like a slave, and they were enjoying all their fun time in Vegas. But in no way am I bitter about this at all. But we are going to be talking about The Flash, Aquaman, the Alien movies, a lot of stuff. So I don't know.
A lot of things happened this week at CinemaCon. A lot.
Yeah, a ton of stuff happened. The biggest thing for me right now is Star Trek Legacy, and perhaps it's because I just finished a 24-hour edit of a video. But I'm almost positive that it's happening. So I don't know when you want to get into that, but when we get into that, I want to go hard into that. So what do you want to do first, Shane, before we go into that?
Well, first thing we got to do is just shout out. If you guys are ever here in Las Vegas and you want to do a podcast, you got to make sure you come to Podcaster Studios here with the Salty Nerd guys. It's absolutely fantastic. I don't know how many of you guys come out here, but if you're interested in doing this and you come out here, you need to make sure you do that. Also, make sure you subscribe to their channel. The coolest thing about this whole event is I think you guys got like 1,000 subscribers in the last like 2 or 3 days.
Yep.
So if you haven't watched the Salty Nerd podcast, make sure you guys get over there and subscribe to their channel. And we got Kadish and Alex have been on our streams on Mondays. So they're part of the family. So make sure you guys get over there and check them out.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you guys already noticed the difference with having Vader on the stream. So
Did our view count go down suddenly? What happened?
We lost.
Hideous.
All of
I
our
repel
viewers.
people.
talking about farts in chairs and all
What?
that stuff.
You know the quality of the stream, so just get over there and subscribe.
That's
It's
what,
all good.
that's what I do, man.
Hey, Danny,
Push the boundaries.
Danny the Dork Knight is a wrench. He is he's giving great links, but the links are actually wrong. You gotta give that link, bro.
You need to reconsider his wrench. It's not a good thing.
If you
I
want
gotta tell you guys.
thank you for plugging the merch, but it's Popcast guys. The other link doesn't even work.
Listen, I got to tell a quick story about Danny. Danny, of course, who's always super helpful, and you guys know who Danny is. He was taking pictures this whole trip, and so what happened was, as Brian said, listen, Shane, get out there and take pictures, of you doing stuff, and then I'll tweet it out since I'm back here working. And I said, well, I'm not going to do that, because I'm not the kind of person who's like, hey, let's take our picture together. I don't like to do that. So Brian, genius as always, says, I'm going to ask Danny to do it. Right. And so Danny shows up with a camera, like a real camera, not just his phone.
Fancy DSLR camera.
So motivated. Right. He's running around, taking pictures of everything. And what I realize is at the end of both nights, Danny has like 1 million pictures of himself with everybody else.
Yeah, that sounds
a ton.
as opposed to me with everybody else.
with his
right.
with his soy mouth
which
probably
I'm-
wide open.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Mean to Danny, dude.
All the pictures were really good. Thank you, Danny. I appreciate that, man. I actually have I have a folder going. I'm gonna start posting on a community section this weekend.
Okay.
It was funny because both nights that Brian had hired Danny to take pictures, so he brought his really fancy camera, and both nights he forgot the SD card for the
Yeah, I was
camera.
just gonna ask.
So he just ended up using his phone the whole time.
Dude, do you have an extra card for my camera? It's like, no, I don't have a card for your camera. I just carry those around in my back pocket. What are you thinking?
But the best part was Danny going. The best part was Danny's like, so Shane, what do you want me to shoot? And I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like whatever, literally shoot whatever you want.
The best part was Danny saying like, can you believe Brian's paying me to do this?
and there you go.
Listen, the photos are actually really good. I'll show you guys right now.
Do you have a
wait to
couple?
see
Share
him.
some of them.
Can't wait
Yeah,
to
I'm
see
gonna give
All of them are
Danny.
PG, right?
No.
Okay, so most of them are PG. He did take a couple in the bathroom. I thought that was weird. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, but it was the women's bathroom, right? That was the problem.
No,
Danny's mom's
Danny
here.
is
We gotta-
really proud of his penis. That's what I've gathered from these photos.
Well, he's got both of his balls still, so I think he's very
Yeah, that's
proud
right.
of
That's what
that
it
fact.
is.
Yes,
about
that's
that.
actually really good news for him.
He's just really
Yeah, that's
happy
great.
that he
Yeah.
still has both testicles. I get it. I totally get it.
I had a nice long 20-minute talk with Danny's fiance last night about his balls. So it was kind of fun.
This is digressing.
This is going down a
Yeah,
rough
sure.
path,
Sure.
man.
All right,
Here.
so here's some of the pictures Danny took.
Sorry,
That's,
Danny's mom.
That's Chris Gore, Alex from Salty Nerd, and Mr. Reagan.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And another one.
That was a great time. I
There we go.
was nerding out
You'll
really
notice
hard.
I'm in almost none of these pictures.
By the way, real quick, I posted this photo on Twitter, and someone immediately replied, "What's up with the alt-right convention?"
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So yeah, I guess if you're a bunch of white guys standing around, you're suddenly all right now. I got it.
Yeah, that made me laugh. Hey, Son of John for $10. I'm concerned that if Legacy is being taken seriously, then how long will it take for it to be announced? Because actresses involved in the series will only have so much time to wait. Well, these are Star Trek actors. They have plenty of time to wait. They don't do much else.
You know what I like about Son of John? What you did right there is you got us back on track. Thank you so much, John. I see what you're doing there with that
I see
question.
what you're
Thank
doing.
you so much for supporting. Well, the reality is that
Don't forget this picture right here. This is the ultimate alt-right picture. Sorry, Shane, go ahead.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
what's
Danny.
really crazy is they saw the Popcast shirt that Danny was wearing, and they thought that was me. And I was like, because some people were like, oh, and I was like, no, I'm not in that picture at all. So, like none of the other ones.
There's
there you are.
the picture.
There you are.
Oh, he did. Well, so you notice Danny's
He's in
that
every
picture.
one. He's in every picture.
There he is, that one too.
Wait,
Oh
there's
my God.
more Danny and Chris and Jeremy, right?
Danny, who is taking the pictures, bro?
And I thought Danny wasn't even taking the
That's what
pictures.
you
don't
gotta
get
say.
it.
I think I was taking the damn pictures. I told you I wasn't even going to do that. I'm taking pictures of Danny.
He got you to take
That's fantastic. God dang it, Danny. I told you
Delegated
I
his
wanted
job.
to-
Respect game, bro.
Delegated it to somebody else.
Look at that one.
This is. I wish you all could have been here with us. Everybody in the chat. I wish you guys could have all been here.
Oh, Danny,
was
you
so
bring
much
me
fun.
such joy, bro. I really appreciate
Oh,
it.
Chris Gore's in the chat.
Yeah, we're laughing with you. No, we're
Oh,
laughing at
no,
you.
we are,
But
man.
we're laughing with you.
Danny, can you take photos of Shane and everyone? And then he proceeds to take photos of himself. That's awesome. It's just so
That's
good.
Danny in a nutshell for you.
I love
we
it,
love Danny.
bro. I love it. It's such a Danny thing. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Chris
Thank you.
Gore for $4.99. I disavow.
Dude, Chris Gore's documentary, how good was that?
That was
Oh,
awesome.
so good,
It
man.
brought back so many memories for me. I lost my mind. And then the fact that I got to hang out. Chris, I think you might have been one of the highlights of my weekend this week. It was amazing to get to sit down and chat with you. So thank you for coming, and thank you for coming to the studio too. as well.
Yes, and I'm glad you made it home safely, sir.
Yeah, I had to pay for it. All you guys saw it for free. I bought it on Prime. It's cool. It's cool.
I bought it on Prime the night it came out, and then I watched it again
It's all right.
at the thing.
Chris just gave me
Well,
a
had you
$5
come
super
out,
chat.
you would have watched it for
So
free.
I'm only $5 down. No, it was worth
Yeah.
it. Worth every penny, bro. Listen, I actually question, Chris. Are you going to be putting that on Blu-ray? Because I want to buy that.
He is. Yeah, it comes out in August.
Yeah, actually, at the theater when we did the screening, he brought the only existing Blu-ray copy of the movie to screen at the theater. So
Oh
we got a
man.
little exclusive there that Brian missed out on yet again.
Yep. Something else you missed out on by not being here.
God.
It was a special night.
No, it was really fun. It was really fun.
Thanks,
a lot of
guys.
fun. And
Thanks.
Chris, I'm just so impressed. Like he stood for like 7 hours last night. Never even sat down and just talked the whole time. So thank you, sir, for being awake and taking care of us.
I think it's something we need to do every year.
Yeah, I texted him this morning and I was like, Chris, you want to come into the studio again today? He's like, I'm dead.
He was pretty hammered last night with all the people.
I'm telling you, and he had a throng around him at all times.
So what
He's a
happens
rock
if we
star, man.
what happens if we get Chris Gore, Robert Meyer Burnett, and Mr. Reagan all in the same room?
Oh,
Well, there'd be an
and
explosion.
then, like there would be just be this, but like
Constant
continuing
hum.
Yeah, constant hum,
Right.
Exactly.
And
world would end.
at some point in time, they hit that right pitch, and the whole world just implodes.
yeah,
black
hit
hole
the
opens,
universal
right?
harmonics.
The harmonics would just
The
destroy
multiverse
universe.
opens. Yeah. All right, man.
Dangerous.
Yeah. But seriously, getting back to Son of John's question. So when you have actors of this caliber, so Jerry Ryan, she does other things, but look at, she even changed her Twitter name to Jerry Ryan, Captain 7 of 9. So like she's all in on whatever's coming. And frankly speaking, and we have it on pretty good confidence that she's already being lined up for something for sure. So, and we're going to talk more about that, I think.
Yeah,
So-
she's been
and-
sharing the petition like nonstop. She's promoting the petition.
well, she wants a show about her. Why not? I mean, that's
I mean,
what you want to do. The one person we do need to be worried about though is Jack Crusher, because that guy is going places. So
Have you guys watched the fourth season of You by any chance?
No.
not yet. No.
I saw
So,
parts of it when I
Yeah,
was
so
editing.
he's in that season as well, and he freaking steals the show. Like he's
Ed
amazing.
Speleers is special, man. I mean, we can say what you want about Picard season 3, whether you liked it or didn't like it. That guy acted his ass off.
Yep.
So he did a really good job.
Yeah, I'm a Speleers fan.
Yeah.
Speleerser.
I'm a spelunker.
Spelunker.
I like to go into the caves.
Is that the name of his fan base?
It-
now?
it
The
is now.
Spelunkers? Yeah.
the spelunkers?
There it is.
Spelunkers.
All right.
Yeah.
We just created that. Yeah. And it's funny what you say about the
Hashtag spelunkers.
spelunkers. Trekkie /spelunkers. So this is really cool. This change.org petition that we set up a while back. So it got featured in trekmovie.com. They've been kindly pushing it as well because it is a huge narrative with this. If you think back, we haven't had this much buzz about Star Trek in years. Never in this new Trek era has there been this much buzz about Star Trek than there has been for Star Trek Legacy with Picard season 3. So the fact that this, at the beginning, we all knew, we saw it at the very beginning, and we said, we're telling everybody, telling all our salty nerd friends here, hey, you got to watch it. And they're like, you guys are wrong. There's no way it can be good.
Yeah, Vader
everybody found out it's good.
threatened my life. I'm not going to forget
I was
that.
going to drive to your house and beat your ass,
Yeah.
man. But
Yeah.
If you don't come back out here to visit next time, he's going to come and beat you up.
I see
I
how it is.
wouldn't have done it.
But the point is that so we said, okay, at the very beginning, what can we do? Because we saw it and we said, we have to do whatever it is, whatever it takes to get more of this going on. So before the show even began, we actually created this petition. How long ago did we create it, Brian? Do you remember?
Yeah, I can tell you when. We created the week before the first episode aired.
Okay. So because we knew what was going to happen. So we had a couple of pieces of insight. One of them was, okay, first we knew there was nothing happening. So we knew this great season had been created, but we also knew they weren't creating any more Star Trek. There was no plan for Terry Matalas to do any more Star Trek. And we knew that 100%. So we said, okay, well, we might as well get ahead of it because we know once people start watching it, they're going to be like, oh my God, I got to have more of this. So when we created it, we decided, okay, well, this is what we need moving forward. And it's just taken off. And in fact, it has now surpassed the original Pike. When people wanted Captain Pike to have his own series, we've now surpassed that with this one. And about 27,000 signatures is when the Pike series, when the Strange New World series was announced?
Yeah, 28,000.
28,000. What's this one at now?
36,000 and change.
Wow. So that's just one piece of the evidence. And after you guys get done watching this stream, please go over and watch our other video that came out on the main channel, which goes through and explains all of the evidence, which proves we will be getting a Star Trek Legacy something. Maybe not a series. It could be a mini series, but it's coming. So, and we lay it out. There's 7 or 8 pieces of evidence in that video. And I don't want to explain it all here, but several things have happened over the course of Picard season 3 that have proven to us that something's happening. And especially at this IMAX thing that happened recently.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Several things happened there where the narrative is suddenly changed. People's attitudes have changed. The conversation coming from insiders have changed. And all of this leads us to believe that while we may not get an announcement in the next week or two or something imminent right away, behind the scenes, I know they're talking about doing something in the 25th century. So make sure you guys go check that out.
Yeah, so a couple things. I can't verify this, but someone in the comment to one of our videos said this was the highest signed Star Trek petition, and I can't base it on anything because I haven't done research. But if that is,
what else would there be a petition on?
I don't know. But if there is, that's cool as hell.
Remove Alex Kurtzman.
Yeah,
That could be one. That one got a lot of signatures.
that
You
one has
should put that one out.
175,000.
Yeah.
But additionally, as far as the IMAX Q&A goes, when we first got sent the Q&A, it was like on a smartphone video, and we saved it. We got everything we needed out of it to create our video, but then it was promptly removed by CBS.
Oh yeah, the original. Yeah, the person who put up the original Q&A, somebody videotaped it
Hard
at the
strike.
IMAX theater,
Right.
and Yeah, so they got pulled down,
Ooh,
but
you
luckily
guys got a hard strike.
No,
on
no, no,
that?
we didn't.
somebody else did. Yeah.
No, we I told Shane. Shane was like, "Hey, can we put that video up on our channel?" I'm like, "Hell no." That's gonna be
Right.
Someone's striking that in the next 24 hours for sure.
But we managed to get the audio up. So
We put
if
the
somebody
audio
wanted
up,
to go watch that. Yeah, you could actually listen to the entire Q&A session, and it's the only thing out there until they decide they want to shut that one down. But there are some things in there that tells you they're doing more Star Trek.
But we
in the
can't get a
20th
hard
century.
strike for video, as far as I know. So
Do you mind if I just go off on a quick rant about how crappy Paramount is?
Yeah, do it.
It's not my show. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll let you do that. Let me do the super chat real quick. Michael Nemo for $5. Did you see Kurtzman ask if he'd heard about the fan outcry for Legacy? He has a terrible poker face. I bet he has contempt for Star Trek fans. All right.
Yeah,
let's
that,
marinate on that a bit.
No, I mean it's true. Before Matt says that, just to answer the question, he has a terrible poker face. Yes, and some of the key words he used are so much different than what the beginning of the series, and so I think he just kind of telegraphs what he's thinking. And thank you, Alex, for doing that. I appreciate it. Go ahead on your rant, Matt.
Yeah, so Paramount / CBS has proven time and time again to just be the most garbage studio in Hollywood. Like, for all the bad stuff that like Disney and Warner Brothers and like all these other studios do, at least like, you know, they allow for fair use. Paramount just frickin' will copy strike anything. There was a time where we were reviewing the Halo show episode by episode, and Paramount just kept hitting us with copy strikes like left and right, to the point. And it wasn't like, oh, they're taking our revenue. We would have been fine with that. It was just like, oh, they're blocking it worldwide. And it was not just us. It's like anyone who ever uses anything that's associated with Paramount, like they run the risk of just getting it striked and blocked and stuff on YouTube, to the point where like you literally have to use still frames and audio if you want to use like contextual stuff from a Paramount movie or TV show in order to communicate to an audience what's going on there. Any like 2 seconds of video will get you struck down and by Paramount's legal team. And you know, like we had Robert Meyer Burnett in here with like and you know, like he was involved with the whole Axonar thing, where Paramount basically went after you know, fan creations regarding Star Trek. This goes back to like the early 90s, where like they came out against fan fiction, where they would like, you know, get websites taken down where people were posting Star Trek fan fiction. They've just been so anti-fan, anti-audience for so long that the idea that like they do this Q&A and someone dares to post it online and they take it down. It's not even a Paramount property. You know, it's a public event.
Somewhat has something to do with them. And they're like, no.
So like I hate, like I used to work at Paramount and I hate them so much. I hate them so very much.
My only experience with Paramount has been the Halo reviews that we did, and how much of a hassle that was just to get a basic review on this TV show. And obviously they were not kind reviews because that show sucked, but I was blown away by how much they were like dogging us on this stuff. And then the icing on the cake and the cherry on top was when we tried to get that event going here in Vegas this weekend, and they were just like, nope.
Yeah, originally for our theater event, we wanted to screen episodes of season 3 of Picard, and we wanted to make it like a big fan celebration of Picard, right? And through a confluence of events, we were basically told, nope, can't do that.
Well, the shame of it is that, you know, we had made it a private event. We had also made it for charity, so we were going to donate to Jerry Ryan's charity any of the proceeds that we got from it. So there's so many more elements to it that really make it a shame. Now, and I get that perhaps they didn't want that announcement to go out at the same time they were about to announce the IMAX. So we actually came out before they did the IMAX announcement, and I think they might have been afraid, you know. So I get that, but I think you're right. I mean, every time you look at a video, it's like, you know, CBS CID has just, you know, blocked something, did something. They are extraordinarily litigious in that way, and it's a shame that people have to do that, because I mean, what are we doing out here? I mean, can anybody say that we haven't, you know, us along with you guys and Robert Meyer Burnett and Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker and everybody who's talked about, you know, the Red Letter Media guys, how much positive information, how much positive push have we given to Star Trek? in the last several months. I mean, we are at least worth millions of dollars of advertising for them.
Free advertising.
Free
Free
advertising.
advertising, yeah.
The least they can do is like, unhook a little bit.
Vader and I were watching the Red Letter Media of the finale, their video on that, and one of them, they were sitting there and they're like, if they come out with Legacy, I'm gonna watch it. And this is the guy who promised never to watch any Star Trek anymore. And Vader looked at me and said, that right there, that means something to some executive somewhere needs to watch that.
Yeah, and the secret sauce is Terry Matalas.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that he's a magical showrunner, and the cool thing is that Alex Kurtzman came out and said it. So if you guys don't know, at the premiere, when we went to the premiere and watched the first 2 episodes, Alex Kurtzman's like, okay, yeah, Terry Matalas did a good job, and that was it. And I'm like, whoa, that was weird. It was like all he said was good job. I'm like, okay, but at the IMAX screening, he said some crazy stuff. He's like, a man who knows Star Trek like the back of his hand. He talked about he understands what the fans want emotionally and narratively. I mean, the overwhelming amount of praise told me, and then also kind of the way Terry was responding to things told me, oh shit, they're talking about doing something.
Something's going on.
Something's happening, because he doesn't just say stuff like that. And the fact that he said before the IMAX screening, he said, we've heard the fans loud and clear. Verbatim what he said before Strange New Worlds was made. So yeah, it's coming.
Hollywood's not complicated. You just give people what they want instead of like trying to force feed them what you want. I mean, it's not complicated at all.
That's the secret sauce, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
That's it.
Pretty
That's the
simple.
answer, yeah. I mean, well, think about it. And I think the executives they get in their own way. I kind of think of them as mentally challenged, entitled children, right? So it's true. Like they get up there, like their dad was like a big wiggity wig, and then they go to school and they get to be a big wiggity wig, right? And but they have no idea how things work or what fandom is. And they're just there's like the social class structure is like, we're a bunch of like working people, right? And they're a bunch of elites. And so they don't understand what we want or what we like. And they have to see it through the lens of, ratings. And guess what? Picard season 3 ratings are off the hook when it comes to Star Trek. I mean, it's only the second show for Paramount Plus that actually made the top 10 Nielsen ratings for streaming.
I think also, and Rich Evans said this in the Red Letter Media review, I think that this is true for a lot of people. It certainly is true for me. People are actually going back and rewatching this season as opposed to like Discovery, where people might watch it once and then like never again, So like, I feel like, the first 2 seasons of Picard was like a one watch, but season 3 of Picard is a rewatch where like Star Trek fans are actually going back and rewatching not just a couple episodes, but the entire season.
Well, it's a 10-hour TNG movie.
Yeah.
And I know the other TNG movies are not great, but I still go back and rewatch them.
Right.
So it's like when I see this season, I just see it as a really long movie. And I'm like, absolutely, I'll go back and rewatch that.
And having the experience of watching it all together without waiting, without stopping, gives you, I can't wait for somebody just to edit it all togetger as a long movie. So you don't have to like even go next.
Yeah, Brian, get on that.
Yeah,
Hey, so
post it on your YouTube channel and see what happens.
Speaking of editing and
probably do it.
copyright claims, I feel your pain, bro. I got this. Look at this real quick. When we were doing our weekly reviews, every marker.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, welcome back.
So we were the ones that were gone. All right.
Yeah, you guys disappeared. Yeah, Michael, that's entirely possible. And just because it says Star Trek Legacy doesn't mean we want to see it. We want to see Star Trek Legacy with Terry Matalas.
Did you do Son of John super chat? Because I'm going to talk to him.
I'm about to. Dustin Cole for $2. My last chat was not a dig. I'm a big boy too. Okay. I don't know.
Yeah. I think this camera makes me look 146 pounds heavier.
I think
Yes. Yeah.
I me too.
Yeah, it's so cool. The quality is so good. I'm used to being like.
We need to go form a tag team.
That would probably make us
I'm
lose
looking for
weight.
Son of John's. I don't see it here.
Here, I got it. Son of John for $10. I want to believe what you're saying, Shane. However, I have this feeling that Alex is only BSing, playing the political long game and saying what we want to hear. The only thing is, Son of John, here's the thing, is Alex is incapable of BSing. So he is a very interesting guy. he doesn't really fill people full of crap, because if he doesn't want to do something, he just doesn't talk about it.
Right.
So he could have easily gone to the IMAX and said the same thing he said at the premiere is, great job, Terry. You guys did a really good thing. The fact that he spent the time to actually create some lavish comments, and then what even gives it away more is kind of the way Terry reacted during some of the questioning. And if you guys listen to it, you can hear him kind of cut off the guy at the end of the Q&A. So the guy who's doing the emceeing for the IMAX was cool. But he said at the very end of it, he said, oh, this isn't the end. This isn't the end. And then he said, this is not the last time we're going to see 7 of 9. In fact, we're going to see a lot more of these people soon. And then Terry said, hey, I got somebody else I want to thank. And you could see him kind of cut that guy off. And I went, oh, he just cut him off.
Guy was about to spoil something, man.
Now, here's the thing. If Terry's not making more Star Trek in the future, Terry doesn't speak up.
Yeah, why does Terry
Alex
care?
speaks up.
Right.
So that leads us to believe that there's something, and it might be simply as something as Alex saying, look, we're jam-packed. We're doing Starfleet Academy. We're doing Section 31. We can't do something right this moment, but just hold tight and we'll do something in the future. And it probably won't be that far in the future, because here's the deal. You've got 4 shows. So we've gone through this a few times. So Star Trek gets 50 weeks a year, 50 episodes of shows every year on Paramount Plus. So 50 of the 52 weeks of the year, there's new Star Trek. So by having the 4 series, that's 40 episodes. Okay. And now you're going to have the movie, which is going to be the Section 31 movie, which will be 2 to 3 hours. We know that there's a mini series coming, and I believe that mini series is going to be the legacy Star Trek that's coming. And I think that hopefully, with everything that Alex is saying, that he's going to put Terry Matalas in charge of it, because it is going to be Star Trek in the 25th century, and it should be a limited series, like 3 or 4 episodes.
Fascinating. We got a super chat from No Money G. It was nice to meet some of you. Thank you, Shane, for holding my hand while watching Free Enterprise. Winky,
dude, you have soft hands, by the way. Actually, No Money G flew out all the way from, if you don't mind me saying, No Money G flew out all the way from Pennsylvania. And I got to tell you, it just warms my heart to know that people came out to. That make you laugh? That's good. It warms my heart to know that there are people who like our show and care about us enough to want to come out and spend time with us. So thank you, No Money G, for being there.
And I do want to give a shout out to No Money G, because it's because of him that we went forward with that screening, because he was one of the first people who bought tickets for the 10 Forward event, where we were going to be screening Star Trek Picard season 3. And when that got shut down, he was like, oh man, like I already bought my ticket and booked my hotel for this thing. I was like, man, I can't leave this guy hanging. We got to go forward with this. And so we paid for the theater out of pocket, told everyone who had bought tickets that they are welcome to come for free to the event. And we just went forward with it, because the people who initially bought tickets for this thing, we were like, we got to do something for these guys, because they were first in the door. They were excited about this stuff. We don't want to let them down. So No Money G, thank you so much for coming out here and just being a part. It was great to meet you. And it's because of you that this event actually happened.
Wow, so that's awesome. Yeah. Thank you, No Money G, for making it so we could have this event. Yeah.
Someone asked whose voice is in the podcast videos. It is Shane's voice. I sound like a 70-year-old smoker, so thank God.
Vader, what shout out did you
I would like to just do a really quick shout out to our new best friend, George, or Bob, or Stu, or whatever the guy's name was last night.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in the chat,
Nice, because he said he was going to check it out. Yeah. There was a guy that we just kept getting his name wrong. Like we knew his name, but we just kept calling him a different name. He was such a good sport, so hopefully he's
this was at the Nerdrotic thing, right?
Did he win anything? Because I gave him both of my raffle tickets.
No.
He thought he won something, and it was really embarrassing, because he's like, I won. And he got up there like, dude, you didn't win. He's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was like one number off.
Oh, no. That was my fault.
He had to do the walk of shame back to his chair.
Oh, my bad, Pat.
We got a chat from one of our members. Archmage Frey says, can you clarify the budget of Picard season 3? I saw someone claiming they spent $13 million per episode, which is why we won't get Legacy. That's 100% false.
I don't know who said that, but that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was the first season of Picard. Yes. So Picard, all of the whole series had a nice big budget. And when they got to season 3, they're like, oh shit, we're out of money. And so Terry had to make this entire show. And I would probably say the number somewhere between 10 and 20 million for the whole season. So.
Well, Star Trek Discovery, didn't they do like 15 mil an episode, and it was considered like one of the most expensive shows Paramount or CBS was doing?
Yes, originally, you're right.
Yeah,
And Terry reused a lot of sets.
They did, yeah.
They reused the 10 forward set a ton. In this
Well, they also by setting it on the Titan, like they didn't need like a bunch of different sets and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
like they could just like reuse the same set over and over. And you know what? It even worked better that way because it actually felt like a freaking
It
Star
felt
Trek
like a real,
show.
yeah. It felt like they were actually on a
Yeah,
spaceship.
instead of running around downtown LA eating car batteries.
Forget about it. Man.
Right.
No.
Driving around in a cop car.
You know what it costs to like rent out to block out a street in LA for the day?
Oh God.
It's an insane
lot.
amount of money. You could have bought 14 sets for the amount of money it costs to do that.
Yeah, you got to pay like 30 cops like their whole day's wage just to be out there.
Yeah, it's insane. This season had the lowest budget out of all the modern Star Trek shows, and somehow was the best. So go figure.
Well, it's your showrunner. I mean, I know I keep beating it on. This is the reason why we created a petition that says Star Trek in the 25th century with Terry Matalas. I won't mention any names, but we got a lot of damn pushback when we created this petition to actually have Terry's name removed from the petition.
Yeah, a ton of official people gave us pushback.
A lot of pushback from from news outlets, and because there were people reaching out to us as soon as we did this, and they said, hey, this is great, we support it, but look, it just needs to be Star Trek in the 25th century. It doesn't matter who the showrunner is. And I said,
you know why they
no
reached out
bullshit.
to us, Shane?
It's all about who the showrunner is.
You know why they reached out to us?
Nothing else matters.
Because we were first. Because it was already going. Because they couldn't make their own. Because a couple people had tried to like bypass the petition and make their own. And it didn't play.
They did. Well, because ours had already gotten out there, and it had already been tweeted out by people who had seen it. But the point is that we weren't going to remove Terry because the key to good Star Trek moving forward. And listen, I'm not going to say that Michelle Paradise or Akiva Goldsman, can't go and make the Star Trek they want to make for people who enjoy it, and that's totally fine. But if you want more of this Star Trek, it needs to be this showrunner that made it. It can't just be some new random person. So it has to be somebody who knows Trek. I mean, Alex said it himself. Who else will Alex say is of these other showrunners knows Star Trek like the back of their hands? He hasn't said that about any other showrunner because that's not the truth.
Right.
It's the truth with this guy. So
yeah, listen, if he hired Manny Kodo, I'd give it a shot.
Manny knows Star Trek. Yeah, he'd be great. And we suggested that as well. But, also it's part of the reason is that you want to also be, it's not also just being good at knowing Star Trek, because Akiva Goldsman was a big TOS fan.
Right.
You also have to be a talented showrunner.
Right.
So you have to be a maestro. You have to know which section of the instrumentals needs to go, who, how much of this. Terry not only, made sure that this thing went down properly, but he sat in the editing room and he sat in the writer's room and he was a part of the whole process, and he knew exactly how much of this or how little of that. I mean, the reason we got Todd Stashwick as Captain Shaw is because he recognized the need to have a character that pushed back against Picard and Riker, but in a way that people would still like. He just understood that naturally. I mean, the dude's a freaking genius, and I just really hope we get to do more.
Yeah,
Hey.
I just want to point out real quick, if you permit me, Brian,
Go ahead.
that Terry and his crew did work on season 2 of Picard, but the difference between season 2 and season 3 is the Akiva Goldsman factor.
Well said.
Like this is the guy who basically almost destroyed the Batman franchise, and then won an Oscar, and then came on board, the Alex Kurtzman train, and Alex Kurtzman's been throwing him work ever since. Like if you want to see the difference that one man makes when you remove Akiva Goldsman, because he went to Strange New Worlds, I believe, and Terry was allowed to do his own thing because he was listed as showrunner for season 2. The difference is just noticeable. Like
Right.
when you remove Akiva Goldsman from the equation, like you actually get good Star Trek. So
Well, it's like you said, it's like having somebody in charge. So like when you have, and this was the cool thing about Terry, is he was able to, Akiva went off to do something and Alex was doing something else. And so, because Terry had the complete reins of season 3, he could say, well, this is my vision and this is what I want to do. And as much as people like to beat up Alex, the one thing we have to remember is he did let him do it.
Yeah.
You know, so he could have easily said, no. And he just said, go do your Star Trek. And that's kind of the interesting thing about Alex is everybody wants to, not you, Alex, but
yeah, not me.
you know, but Alex Kurtzman, everybody wants to beat him up because he deserves it in a lot of ways. But at the same time, he really lets his showrunners kind of do what they want to do. So he's responsible for the garbage that other people have created, but he's also responsible, you know, for what Terry Matalas created. So, you know, if they wanted to replace Alex with somebody else, they would need to replace him with somebody like Terry Matalas. But if they're going to replace him with just another Alex Kurtzman, then we might as well keep this guy in who will at least let the showrunners do it. And so if he hires good showrunners who knew Star Trek, then we can get good Star Trek. I hope that all made sense.
Yeah. Again, like I love Terry. Terry's the guy, but I do believe there's other showrunners that can do Star Trek. I just don't know. We just haven't found.
Well, prove it to me. Like who?
Well, like, the only one I can think of is maybe Manny Coda. He brought Enterprise back from the dead.
Well,
I'm pretty sure I could do it.
Well, I know I could do it. Well, let's just do it.
Well,
you think they'll let us?
No.
They won't let us.
Paramount Legal is watching this right now. It's like, no.
Listen,
They got your name on a blacklist, brother.
We'll do it for half the price.
Yeah, they're striking the channel right now just for us asking. We got a super chat from Aaron Gregory. Really wanted to hear Cap 7 tell Jack to shut up or shut it after he said launch torpedoes just like Wesley. Oh, that would have been funny.
I think what she did say out, right? She's like out because when he sat in the chair.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people were like, why wasn't Wesley in this season? I'm like, why do you want Wesley in this season?
Well, some people are huge Wesley fans.
I know.
They
I
actually
don't understand them.
They wasted their Wesley on season 2 by ruining the classic Star Trek TOS stuff. But that's fine.
Can I just ask, like when did the whole like captain's catchphrase become a thing? Like I don't remember like it being like such a big deal until like Kurtzman era came in. Yeah. Really,
it was Discovery.
Discovery.
I will say that like the Strange New World commercial where like they make this big build up, Spock's just like make the ship go.
So stupid.
I thought it was pretty funny.
It's so dumb.
So bad.
So you liked it, you hated it.
I hated it. Yeah, you cannot make Spock look dumb.
Well, he didn't look dumb. He looked like Spock.
Make the ship go. That's what.
Kind of awkward.
That's not what he would say.
He's an awkward young.
Yeah,
that is not what
right
Spock
now
would say. Even when he was young,
the ship go.
He would have went like having a catchphrase is illogical.
Yeah,
right.
That's
exactly.
That's what he would have said. I'm like, make the ship go. Like, okay, guys, come on, let's.
I'm gonna just get on my heel now, and I'm gonna side with Matthew.
You're gonna side with Kadish?
It kind of made me laugh a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you.
It made me laugh a little bit.
I'm gonna agree with Vader. I liked it actually. I
don't know if it was good or bad, but it made me laugh.
Did you like the fact that Captain Kirk can't open a freaking door?
Oh yeah, that was dumb. I'm talking about the Spock thing though. I think the Spock thing was sort of cool. Like he doesn't have a catchphrase. He's like, make the ship go.
No, that's the idiot. Okay, at least move ahead or something. Make the ship go. Listen, if you're gonna cheapen these classic characters and like make them into jokes, that's not Star Trek. I don't want that. I don't want and listen, Strange New Worlds. I'm gonna be there to watch it. I enjoyed large portions of season 1. The Gorn thing killed me. The Hammer thing killed me. There were things, too much cooking, more captaining.
The high hair.
I love the hair.
I love that, dude.
That's great.
If that's not his signature by now, it needs to be.
I love
just make it full Johnny Bravo. Like
you could just do a silhouette of him, and you know who he is,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
So I'm cool. I love Anson Mount, but please don't embarrass my characters by making them the butt of all the jokes. So that's not what Spock is there for. It's not what Kirk is there for.
What do you guys think of the hint that there's going to be some smoochy romance between Kirk and Khan's great granddaughter?
Nah.
I mean, I
don't really like this Kirk. I'm not seeing what I want.
I mean, we got one episode of it, and so I'm willing to give Paul Wesley a shot in season 2. But
the whole problem is, and then it's like anything with these big IPs, if you go into the past, you're gonna
screw things up.
You're gonna screw things up.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, Star Wars, Star Trek.
Which is why you should.
They could go back in Battlestar Galactica and screw things up.
Yeah.
It's just it doesn't matter.
Thank you, Vader.
Go forward. Go forward.
It's almost always gonna screw something up. Almost always.
Yeah, always.
Well, we kind of learned on our members content where we're watching the original show, and we'll sit there and watch this random episode of TOS, and we'll be like, that's a different rule than they talked about later on. Like you can go forward and still screw things up too if you don't watch every single episode and like really navigate the setup that somebody else did 50 years ago. Like
It's true.
It's difficult. It's a challenge to not screw things
Well,
up.
and they screwed up the Gorn, which the Gorn is a human. I know you guys heard me say this a million times. The Gorns are humanoid creatures. What we got is a ripoff of Aliens.
Yeah.
And they admit doing that. They admitted it. And then they said that the reason why they were able to do it is because possibly Kirk wasn't seeing the real Gorn on the planet. It was a vision in his mind because the beings that sent him there may not have showed him the actual Gorn. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? It's the weirdest freaking thing I've ever heard. Why wouldn't they look exactly like that? The reality is they just wanted to make them scarier, make them more, and xenomorphs are frightening.
Well, I'm convinced. I don't know if you heard my theory on this, Shane, but we talked about it on the Salty Saturdays live stream with Brian, where basically Singh's brother, the Khan granddaughter, like she has a brother who she abandoned in the Gorn nest or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And my belief is that somehow
Did you bang a lizard?
No, he didn't bang a lizard, but Khan's DNA gets incorporated into the Gorn.
Oh,
And so they become the superior race of Gorn because they're all connected to Khan.
I like that.
I mean, that would be interesting.
it's a better excuse than it was a vision.
So like kind of like how
I like that.
you
I think
get
that's pretty cool.
Borg
actually.
DNA mixed into the hollow emitters or whatever.
Hollow
the transporters.
The transporter
Transporters,
emitters.
yeah.
Hollow emitters.
All of a sudden, everybody's Borgs and they don't even know it
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
yet.
it.
Same concept.
Star Trek's all about the theories.
Oh
So,
yeah. Speaking
keep it
of, I had this great conversation with someone on Twitter yesterday. He's probably watching, but he was like, "What do you guys think about this theory that the reason why Janeway was gone in in Picard season 3 was because that was around the time that she went back to save Voyager and kill the Borg Queen." And it's funny because the dates actually match up, except for
Do they?
they do, but we're in the timeline where she already did that, so there's no reason for her to do it again. Tuvok is already back.
Interesting.
All right.
Are we though?
I
Have they ever
stop.
come out and specified what timeline we're in?
No, I don't want to do this. Really
He drives me crazy with his
Oh,
alternate
they? Have
timeline
they?
stuff. Is this
I-
really the Kelvin
I
timeline?
just want some clarification on what timeline we're actually
We're in the
in.
prime.
Look,
It's the prime
we-
timeline.
Says you.
we
The show's never acknowledged
we
It's
that.
the
must
prime
be in the
timeline.
timeline where she
Mhm.
already went back and saved them because 7 doesn't survive in the other one where she had to go back, and 7's in this one. So we're 100% in the right timeline.
All this timey-wimey nonsense.
Timey-wimey
Yeah.
nonsense.
When did we leave it?
Yeah, but are we in the Picard season 2 timeline where basically like everyone exists outside of the other
Why
timeline?
do you do this? Why do you do this?
What if every
That's
showrunner has their own timeline? The
You just have to
Akiva
consider
timeline.
it a rhetorical
Paradise
question.
timeline.
We're in the Matalas timeline?
That's the only timeline that
What-
matters. Dustin Cole. Thank you, Dustin. Gorn was done well in Mirror episode of Enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, acceptable. If they do that, acceptable. for
Yeah,
sure.
it was acceptable. I mean,
I mean, listen, you can't do the TOS one. Obviously, we don't want some dude in a suit walking
Yeah.
around. I mean, it's not going to work.
that's not good.
You know,
No one's
But
going to
they
be
gotta be on two
terrified of
legs.
that in 2024. You know what I mean? Like, come
Well,
on.
I know you guys have a hard anti-disco rule on the stream, but didn't Lorca have like a Gorn skeleton
I don't
did.
care.
in his
don't
ready
care.
room?
yeah.
It's not canon.
No, he did. No, you're right.
And it was a humanoid.
yeah,
Gorn.
it was. It was a humanoid. So even Discovery got it right. What's up, guys?
Discovery also has
Wow.
Klingworks.
Klingorks?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
They're fixing that in Strange New
Yeah,
They
Worlds.
did.
I
Yeah, I
read the
saw
trailer.
real Klingons. Real Klingons.
real
Yeah.
Klingons coming up.
Yeah.
What's
Listen,
that
everybody
about?
recognizes the mistake. Okay, once they make the mistake, everybody's like, "Oh shit, we should not have made the Klingons like that."
I don't think
We screwed
Akiva
up.
Goldsman recognizes it though.
Well, he in all of Akiva's, I know Akiva's done a lot of things that are not good, but the couple of things he's done well. And by the way, I don't know who gave him a lot of cred for who was recently on Drinkers, the big famous guy, Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe, when they were getting ready to do Gladiator, so Ridley Scott came to Russell Crowe and said, "Hey, I want to, let's do this movie." And Russell's like, "This script's terrible." And so Ridley's like, well, let's do it together. Let's work on it. And so Russell actually called Akiva in, and Gladiator, the script we got is because of Akiva Goldsman. And that's actually a really good movie. So he's done some bad stuff and some good stuff. But let me tell you what else that Akiva is responsible for is he thought that Discovery was going to be Pike originally. He came in and told Alex, he's like, listen, Pike, let's do Pike. Everybody wants to see Pike. We never got to see him in the original series. Let's do that. And Alex is like, oh no, we're already like all deep on this Discovery stuff that Brian Fuller created.
Right.
And with
Fuller.
bad Klingons as well.
Fuller, man.
Right.
He
Bad
started,
Klingons and everything,
started
right?
This. He started this. He doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah, you're right. He doesn't. But so Akiva is actually a big reason why, because we got Pike because of Akiva. And that's why Akiva is now working on the Strange New World series. So as many things that Akiva's done that don't work, he's also given us some things that have worked. And you're right. He's done some really, really awful things as well. So I just want to make sure we balance it on that stuff.
I think I said this to Shane once, and I'll say it to you guys. I said it to him privately. I think Akiva is an actual Star Trek fan, but I think he's a pushover in the writer's room.
He's a TOS fan. Yeah. Vader actually has to go.
Yeah,
so
I want to bust in really quick.
Go for it.
Just, I want to thank a few people because it's been a crazy couple days, and I got to bone out of here. I got to go do the real life job. It sucks. But Shane, Brian, love you guys. Thank you so much.
Love you,
Love you too, man.
For doing what you do with us. You've helped make this whole thing really special for us. I want to thank the guys in the chat, No Money G, everybody for coming into town this week. It's been a really special couple days for me and for all of us.
Absolutely.
And I'll let these guys say what they want when they get out of here. But for me personally, thank you, everybody. It's been a really fun week, and I can't wait to do it again next year.
We appreciate you, brother.
So,
yeah. It's a lot of fun. You're that sprinkle of spice that we need in everything.
And you guys really need to reconsider getting new wrenches on your chest. Okay? Because that dude's a clown.
Got it.
Hey, hey, Vader, before you leave, are we doing STLV?
Look, you talk to him.
That's a Kadish thing.
That's I hope so. I would love to do that.
Okay.
Personally, so
it's not STLV anymore.
It's just
Yeah.
the Vegas sci-fi.
It's the Wish
convention
version of
creation.
STLV.
I really wish that they would just own the fact that they don't have the license anymore and turn it into like an every sci-fi show convention and just have everybody there. Get Stargate in there, get Battlestar Galactica, get Star Trek. Just have them fill it up.
That's how you get fans, dude.
I want to go
Supernatural, Stargate, Firefly, name it.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get all of us dressed up to where we're unrecognizable and go take a group picture with Alex Kurtzman.
That'd be great. Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right,
brother.
brother.
Appreciate you.
See you later, guys.
I'm unplugging and getting out of here.
All right. Later, Vader. Oh, that's a new
That's
one.
good.
That's
Later,
Vader.
Yeah, STLV, once it has a couple of bad years, like when fans stop showing up, that's when they'll start going, we're going to have to open this thing up a little bit.
Well, the official, so like the reason that Creation Entertainment lost the license for Star Trek was because basically the Paramount and CBS wanted to do their own conventions for Star Trek. And so like they took the license back, but they've canceled every single one of their conventions ever since that point. And it's kind of like, well, you're not doing anything with the goddarn license anymore.
Yeah,
so,
wasn't the plan supposed to be that we're going to do like a Disney D23 type thing for
First
Paramount?
Contact Day. It was going to be First Contact Day.
That would have been...
Okay, so funny that I was actually looking this up last night because I had to know why there was no First Contact Day this year, even though there was First Contact Day for the last 2 years, even if they're a week. Bro, their plan was to make First Contact Day, which happened about a month ago. They're like D23. Their big day where they release it. They have a convention. They release everything. And they had a really poor showing in 2021. And then in 2022, it was hyper low budget. And now there's nothing. There isn't even a graphic anymore on their website. Just like nothing.
Well, and that's part of the problem there. I don't know what the heck's going on over there. I mean, we didn't get anything for this First Contact Day. They handed out news, and we do actually talk about it in the video. I do think that they were a little bit strong-armed because the love for Star Trek Legacy and the loudness that we were becoming as fans was starting to become so overwhelming, especially after Discovery had been canceled, that a lot of the Discovery fans were like, this sucks. Like, we're losing our show. These guys are all excited, and they were weren't necessarily not Picard season 3 fans, but they were also like, it was kind of like salt in the wound.
I think you undermine
know?
your credibility when you talk about Discovery fans. I don't believe they exist.
Oh, that's not true.
No, they exist.
A couple of years ago when we went to the Star Trek convention, when I think it was still licensed as Star Trek convention, it was 2018. Most of the people who were dressed up in like cosplay / had like the merch and stuff, they were all Discovery fans.
Oh,
Well,
dude,
well,
I know.
I
and they're
think-
all
I think
rocking the
that's most-
disco thing, and they're like
Yeah.
15,
But I think that's
15
mostly
colors in
because-
each person's hair. It's crazy.
I think
Sorry.
that was mostly because like that was like the primary license that was being pushed. Like they didn't have a lot of access to the new stuff. To me, people who are quote unquote Discovery fans are just hardcore Star Trek fans. They like anything with Star Trek in the title. I don't think that there are actually any real Discovery fans in existence.
Well, here's the thing is that the people who are fans of Discovery, and this is the thing, they're the loud ones. The young people who've come in that say, Discovery is my Star Trek. They're the ones who are extremely verbal, loud. All of us old people, right, are older, legacy fans or old time Star Trek fans. We're quieter. We're not going to get up and start shouting from the rooftops.
Yep.
And so that's what the studio hears, and that's what they're like, oh, well, this is working.
But I mean, like, I don't see any young fans on TikTok clipping, stuff from
Scenes from
Discovery,
Discovery.
and like crying about them or like anything like that. Like, there's literally like no buzz about Discovery. Like, I don't even think most people know that there's going to be a season 5. So like to me, like Discovery is just like smoke and mirrors, right? Like, I don't really think like any of the Star Trek fandom. Like, if there are people who enjoy it, it's like a casual enjoyment, but like they're not obsessed over it like they are over other seasons.
Well,
The way other Trekkies are, right?
Well, here's the thing, though. It also, you got to understand that most of the people who are, let's say, Discovery fans, like you say, the ones who are not rabid, it takes time for a series to become rabid. So we're rabid fans because we have, 40 plus years of loving Star Trek. These people who have new Star Trek, they're like, yeah, I really like this show. This is good.
Yeah.
But they're not to the point where they're like, like, this is my life.
Do you think people who watch Discovery, maybe first time fans of Star Trek, go back and watch the older shows and think they're crappy?
I don't think they go back and watch the older shows. I mean, it'd be cool if they did, but I don't think they do.
They don't bother. Like, oh, we're gonna check out that Voyager show that came out, and then like,
yeah, the fans that I've talked to that are Discovery fans, they always say the same thing. Because I always like, well, what do you think of like a Legacy Trek or the older shows? And like, yeah, just kind of it's hard to watch because it's old and
It's dated.
Like, screen's like a box. Why is it a box? It's long. Why isn't it wide?
Where's all of the screen? It's missing part of the screen.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's they haven't watched it, and I think, and I don't know if you can go back. Like,
And they wouldn't like
there's
it.
a lot of
To them, it would be misogynist. It'd be triggering.
right.
Honestly, it would be triggering.
Well,
wouldn't
yeah. To some of the young people, you're
Well,
right. So,
so
I'm
if
just
they
trying to say
like-
there are.
Real quick, Shane. If they like Discovery, though, if they really do, then they like the extreme dramatic element of Discovery, because that's all that's really
Right.
prevalent in that show, right?
Well,
You're-
they like the characterizations. Yes.
You're not gonna get that in Enterprise or Voyager and TNG. I mean, you might get that a little bit in DS9, but pretty much every other show is not that. It's just not.
But I mean, like, how many people go out there and talk about Captain Burnham as opposed to like Kirk or Pike or even Shaw? Like, Shaw had like 8 episodes in like the 3rd season of a show. It's like you hear more about him than you hear about Captain Burnham.
Bro, I'm one half of a fairly popular Star Trek channel, and just until right now, I had forgotten that she was a captain. So
Well, because she wasn't a captain for like 3 or 4 seasons.
Three seasons.
Yeah. So, I mean, they did her wrong to start her off. I mean, you don't bring a character in and immediately make them unlikable.
Like I actually wanted to see the adventures of Captain Saru. Like I was like on board with Captain
so was
Saru.
I. That's so weird.
And then they made him like F off back to his like fishing hut on his Kelpian planet. And they're like, okay, Michael Burnham's finally a captain now, so like she can actually make decisions as opposed to just telling the captain what he should do.
Okay, so on
was
that
just
note, real
hard.
quick, can someone explain to me how Saru's people, Kelpians, even communicate at any point with the Federation? They live in huts and they fish, and they, with
I forgot about
nets
that.
they make out of plants. How the F did he even get into the Federation? I'm so confused by this.
Well, we don't know because he was never in the Federation until Discovery, and So it didn't really make a lot of sense. When you add new characters that were never in Star Trek before, it's tough. And they didn't flesh out a good backstory until he got there. I didn't like Saru because, you know, he was okay. And I love the actor.
Yeah, Doug Jones is awesome.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
But he was such a, what's the right? He's like a weak character. Like, because fear was like his main driving force, and he had to like overcome that fear. It was interesting, but at the same time, it was like irritating when he would get in the captain's chair and he would be so like unsure of himself. Indecisive.
Yeah, it was frustrating.
And it's like, God, I don't want, you know, is everybody on the show going to be indecisive?
But that was like just a narrative trick to give Burnham something to do, because like they really kind of hamstrung themselves by making her the first officer as opposed to the captain, because in all Star Trek series, the captain's the one who drives the action because they have command, right?
Yeah.
But when you make your main character someone who's not in command, and they're telling everyone, okay, this is what you need to do, they're basically undermining every like captain that they have on that ship. And they needed Saru to be weak and indecisive in order for Burnham to like shine. And it wasn't until Burnham took command that, like, you know, she was able to basically fulfill that role that she'd been trying to fulfill for like the first 3 seasons.
Right.
And it's just ridiculous. Like,
there was a missed opportunity when Saru went back and remember his ganglia came off or whatever. It was real weird how she had to like tickle his ganglia or whatever. You guys remember that? He's like,
I do, unfortunately.
You're like, what the fuck is going on? But when those came out and he like evolved into his predator version of himself or whatever, and he lost that fear, they had the opportunity to make him like a really cool alien captain.
Right.
The first alien captain, we've never seen an alien captain, not as the main character. They had the opportunity to take what they had and canonically make him into a masculine, badass alien captain. And what did he do? His first job? I am not fit to lead, Michael. You must be captain. What?
Right. Well, they had to make that transition at some point. And you got to remember that Michael Burnham not being in charge yet telling everybody what to do is kind of an allegory for society today. Like how many people who aren't actually in charge are trying to tell everybody else what to do. Right. And so you kind of have that. And then it was extraordinarily unlikable. And they just started off everything really bad. And, you know, Brian Fuller left. They lost their vision. You know, anyways, I don't want to regurgitate Discovery.
I've heard this before.
We got a super chat. Whiskey Jack, let old characters have their legacy. We don't need them deconstructed, elaboration, or decomposed. That's true. That's true. That's very true. Thank you for the super chat.
Do you guys remember when the Enterprise had a holographic communication system and it broke and they just decided never to fix it?
Bro, that is... Kate.
That was the wisest thing they could have done.
Oh my God. Okay.
Brian's losing his mind right now.
You understand? Like I'm gonna my every time someone reminds me of that, I like a little vein. I just lose parts of my skin fall off. It's in the official Star Trek wiki that it broke and they never fixed it.
And that was the end of Star Wars Trek.
Someone decided that was a reasonable explanation as to why there's no holographic communication in the future.
It should have been none in the first place.
I understand
how else
that.
do you retcon it? How else do you retcon it?
Here's the way you really retcon it, right?
Yeah.
Don't do it. The Borg surrogate, what was it called? Control, whatever. If the AI, it has to use AI to like calculate, and so it's dangerous and unsecure. So we're gonna Federation can't use it anymore. Not it broke and we just didn't fix it.
Brian just fixed it. There you go.
Nice.
Hey, speaking of fixing things, I wanted to ask Brian and Shane, since I got them both on the same thing, and I'm really hoping I get an explanation for this.
I'm terrified.
So at what point did Starship view screens turn into windows? But not just windows, but retractable windows that allow people to jettison everything on the bridge into space.
That actually was from Generations.
That's from Generations. I told you, Matt. I told you. Sorry.
If you notice in Generations, they were actually utilizing the view screen to move everything in and out of the off of the bridge. So that's the only time, though. You're right, though, because it is the only time
Enterprise D had a view screen. It wasn't a window, right?
Jordy fixed it.
I don't know.
No, that was the Titan.
It was a view screen. We didn't think of it as a window. I mean, they didn't have windows back then. I think you could look out into space as a window, but it was still a view screen.
But
right?
You know, watching the TNG TV show, it's a big screen, right? Like it's not a window,
right?
So at some point, they refitted all the Star Trek ships with windows on the bridge that not only doubled as view screens, but also opened up into the vacuum of
Like
space.
a blast door.
Yeah.
I don't
Well, no,
know,
because
but I'll tell you
that-
this:
well,
in
yeah.
Generations, that's how they were getting in and out of the D when it was crashed. So that's like,
But it was crashed, so conceivably like something could have broken that wall. But what I'm saying is like at what point, because in the prequel shows like Discovery and Strange New Worlds, it's a window, right? And then like in the Next Generation, it's a screen, and in DS9 it's a screen. So at what point did that transition happen? And at what point did someone decide, okay, now let's have it open up?
You're talking about on the Titan, right?
Yeah.
I'm just talking about Starfleet ships in general.
Okay,
Well,
so, but you're
the
talking about
example-
the Titan.
He's using from
'Cause they-
Picard season 3.
Yeah.
And how they got Vatic out of
Yes.
the bridge. Spoiler alert.
I mean, is it possible? Right, too late for that. Is it possible that they just had an escape hatch on the bridge? I mean, it makes sense that you would have a way to exit the bridge if you needed to. I mean, so
Yeah.
having an escape hatch isn't out of sense.
It never bothered me. I think
makes
didn't
complete sense that
JJ's
you can
2000
jettison that thing. Makes complete sense.
Yeah, didn't JJ's 2009 movie, it was a window in that, right? Because they were looking out at the sky, and as they went into light speed, you could see like the stars go by and stuff like
did a
that.
lot
I
of
know.
He did a
but
lot of
hold-
weird things, but I feel like that.
even in TOS and TNG, they still had the animation of going to warp on their view screen. Which
Okay.
honestly,
Yeah,
I remember being younger and thinking that doesn't really make sense. They don't need to see they're going to warp.
Well, the whole thing
We
about
did, though.
the view screen is that
We
there are
did,
different cameras on the ship that can give them different angles and show them different aspects. And then you have like the Skype call where you you FaceTime with like a different ship. And so like in the Next Generation, that's just like, it's a big TV screen, right?
Mhm.
But at some point, the powers that be at Star Trek decided, no, that's a window that doubles as a view screen. But not only is it a window now, it's also a door that opens up.
So
Like
the new ships had escape hatches.
but don't you think that that's like a like hazard where like the entire like command crew of the ship could just be sucked out into space if like an evil AI decides to open the door?
Well, I don't think they thought of it. I mean, you got to look at it this way, Matt. Like, just because they never did it before doesn't mean that it can't exist going forward. So, because we never needed to use an escape hatch on the bridge doesn't mean there's not always been one. And I think it's kind of believable. Now, the whole view screen / window thing.
No, but that makes sense, Shane. Think about this.
What's that?
Okay, you're out of power, right? But let's say the AR elements, the augmented reality elements, doesn't work on the screen because you're out of power or whatever. But you can still see out. Like when they were out of power and they were trying to find Vadic's ship. Remember, he said, "Go to the back. Someone go to the back and see if you can see."
And look out
Vatic."
the window.
Yeah, I think that's.
I mean, they've never done it
awesome.
before, but okay.
It's not. It did not bother me in the least.
If you're on a Navy ship, there's windows. Okay. If you're on a submarine, there's no windows though. So I mean, I just
I just think it's odd that like for an entire season of the Next Generation and going into like Voyager and DS9 stuff like that, it was just a big TV screen.
Yeah, but you're talking about what happened on the Titan. It's
I-
a new ship.
not the D.
I am, but like what I'm asking, I'm not asking about like like why is it there. I'm asking about when did that change happen.
I'm just going to answer you and say when they invented the Neo Constitution class ships.
There you go.
When I would say it may have always been there, So I don't know. I mean, I just think it's a little too nitpicky for.
Yeah, that's Kadish's
Overall.
specialty though.
Hey, we got a super chat that might answer your question actually
pad
from
right there.
Astro Nerdboy for $5.
Yep.
Astro Nerdboy, thank you. The Naked Now showed the hatch on the I can't pronounce that word. Bridge blown out. I always thought it was where the view screen was. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well said. Yeah. So there you go.
Awesome.
Astro Nerd Boy got it for you.
Also, super
when
chat
did-
from No Money G. Terry even hired a real science advisor for this season,
Mm.
like they used to have on Old Trek, not to do whatever you felt like that made zero sense. So suck it, Matt. He hired a science advisor.
Did he actually say something?
Was that directed at Matt?
I don't know. I'm
Brian's making it directed at
assuming
Matt.
it was.
Okay, Brian added it.
Okay.
Hey, we have a new guest here in the studio with us, Mr. Reagan.
This guy's too cool
He's
for
got
school.
the glasses on.
Guys, I don't understand. I love the studio, but why? Is it
Who's
so
that
dark?
rapist?
I don't understand why it's so dark.
Mr. Cruz,
Little
can you please
hangover
take off your
helper
glasses?
there. Yeah.
That's a joke from my father when we were kids. We drove into this campground once. It was getting dark,
and he's going, man, this campsite, they don't like light anything. It's so dark. He's all pissed off. My mom's like, you still got your sunglasses on, honey. He's like, yeah. we've teased him about that for years. You know how families are. Nobody ever lives anything down. So I thought I'd jump in.
Well, we got
one.
two brothers here that know exactly how that goes.
Yes.
What's up, Mr.
And, we
Reagan?
gotta
How
tell
you
you-
doing, brother?
Good. How are you, man?
No, long time no see, man. Did my dude.
Yeah, for real.
If you guys haven't had a chance, Mr. Reagan is known well for his political commentary,
Yeah.
but he's also starting what's your new channel? You're starting a
It's called Alpha Critic.
Oh,
I did the voice and
Alpha
everything.
Critic. I like it.
That's actually
Yeah.
that's a good impression of me.
It's Alpha
I like it.
Critic.
You're better than I am at that.
But you guys, we'll share links down below. Go check it out because I got to tell you, other than we were afraid at some point last night you would end up with Robert Meyer Burnett in the same space, and then the world would explode from you guys talking to each other.
Yeah, like you
know,
guys,
because you guys
me
have
and
the
him?
same
yeah,
energy.
between you,
Yeah.
Robert Meyer Burnett, and Chris Gore, we can probably start the multiverse with just you guys in a room talking.
We can get it kind of intense. Yeah. Chris Gore came on Alpha Critic, which we just posted that, right?
Uploaded. I don't know if you posted it yet.
Oh, I thought you had posted it. Okay, I'll be posting it probably tomorrow morning. A thing we did with Chris Gore, and you were there.
Yes, I was there.
And Matt was there.
Right.
And I felt like Chris Gore and I were just going back and forth and
Yeah.
ignoring you guys completely.
I'm like, man, they're going.
But not because obviously we respect you guys, we want your opinion, but it's just the intensity in the room,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, no, you guys have a lot to say. I love it.
Yeah. We're what we call douchebags. I think that's a technical term.
Verbal douchebags.
Verbal douchebags. Yeah. We like to hear ourselves talk.
All right.
So what are we talking about? I've missed everything.
Well, we're talking about Star Trek Picard season 3 and basically Star Trek in general. And I know you're still working on the season, right?
I know. I'm glad I missed it.
I'm poking holes in their love of everything Trek.
You're not poking
so-
holes in it. You're nitpicking things
Yeah,
that don't make
you're
any
just nitpicking
sense.
it, definitely.
Like, when did they start? I don't know the date, but obviously they did it at one point in time. They decided that it would be a good idea to have some kind of a hatch on the front of the ship.
See, my
That's
theory
like the definition of
is that
nitpicking, by the way, Matt.
my theory is that the same genius who thought it was a good idea to network all of Starfleet starships and also turn off their ability to communicate with one another at the same time thought that it was a great idea to have the view screen open up on the bridge.
That was that hoity-toity blonde chick who showed up on the Enterprise D thinking she was hot shit, and everybody had to.
They
kick
got
her
even
off.
with her, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, she's gone now.
You know,
That
a lot of people thought that when Shelby got killed, that was actually Janeway who got killed.
No, it wasn't.
I know it's
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
not Janeway, but there was like a faction of people on Twitter
Well-
that's like, Janeway, they just murdered Janeway.
Oh, they're idiots then, because that's obviously not Janeway. We'll go watch Voyager.
And
Well,
for
no,
those people who are upset,
They
'cause
don't
didn't
watch
get
Voyager.
Janeway.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the people who are upset that Janeway didn't get a cameo was because they just couldn't do it. They couldn't afford her.
They couldn't afford her?
They could not afford her. So, and also there was a little bit of pushback for she was doing Prodigy, so they didn't want to mess with it. So I think that was the excuse. I mean, listen,
That sounds like horseshit.
well, they got a low budget, remember? So there's a lot of
Language, Alex.
They couldn't even
Language.
afford
Oh,
to bring
sorry,
in
sorry.
Alice Krieg. Couldn't come back to do
Oh,
the
okay.
Borg Queen. They
You
couldn't
only
afford
get
to
his
pay her.
voice.
Shane,
All they
how
could
do
pay
you
for her
know
voice.
all of everything? How do
Because
you
he
know
talks to. Okay, I'm not gonna.
Everyone.
He knows everything.
Yeah.
You know what? I think this is a good idea though. You know how sometimes directors and producers they'll actually like read the comments of the fans and they'll be like, "Oh, that's a good idea." Season 4, kill off Janeway. Let's do it.
Let's kill Janeway.
Let's start a
in the next one.
movement.
They might.
No.
I think we'll see Janeway soon.
Change.org.
Here-
Kill
here-
Janeway.
here's-
No, I like Janeway.
Here's a
No,
fun
it's a
fact.
joke. Obviously,
She's
it's
gonna-
a joke. You don't have to respond literally to a joke.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
That's the way Twitter works.
You
now.
know how we had
I should start a kill Raffi change.org.
I'm not
petition.
opposed to that.
I have occasionally made jokes to women where it's like, I'm like fake hitting on them or whatever, and they're like, "No, that will never happen." And I'm like, "What?" That's like an unnecessary rejection. Like that was obviously
I
a
was
joke.
kidding, right?
You don't have to seriously respond.
I'm kidding only until they
By
say.
the way, this is how
Until
broke
they
they
say
were.
actually.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, okay.
If it works, then you're like, that wasn't a joke. That wasn't a joke.
This is how
No,
broke they
I
were on
did-
Picard. In order to get Chekhov back, he literally took his iPhone over to his house and had him record his lines.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Didn't Terry watch the finale with the actor? Right. I thought
Walter
I saw him.
They
I saw
did.
him post it on Twitter or Instagram or somewhere.
Yeah, it was him and Todd Stashwick.
Yeah, him and Todd.
And that was pretty cool. Yeah, there's just this really great community around it. It was funny because the story goes that Todd, so they live in the same neighborhood with him, and he was walking on, he goes, I think Chekhov lives in my neighborhood. And he's telling Terry on the phone, he's like, really? Okay, well, let's go talk to him. So that's how it all happened.
I've met Walter Koenig a couple times at the Star Trek convention. He even bought my first Earthman Jack book.
Nice.
Really super nice guy, like
Awesome.
just one of the nicest dudes you'll ever meet. And I'm always surprised when he talks to me because like he doesn't have the Russian accent.
It's confusing, yeah.
When I was a kid, I was actually kind of traumatized from Wrath of Khan, which I just watched again the other night. Because
earwigs.
Yeah, well, I
Oh,
genuinely
yeah.
thought they killed him because he's like, they go into the ear, and then you go insane, and you're susceptible to manipulation. I can't do his voice, but you know what I mean.
Well,
And then he's like, and then you die, and I'm thinking. They killed him. They
Oh.
killed
Yeah.
Chekhov. And
And-
I must have missed the scene where he comes back in the end. But
and
yeah, I
Chris,
thought he was dead.
I find it fascinating that you love the Wrath of Khan so much because Ricardo Montalban's chest is what you strive for
Right.
I do,
on a
yes.
daily basis.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yes.
wish.
Yeah.
I can only dream. I hate him a little bit for being so much superior to me.
I was traumatized in person by Chekhov 3 years ago at a convention when he was talking about politics, and I guess he at one point he said, "If you don't like it, you can leave." I wasn't paying attention. I was shooting video, so I got at that time. I just
Well, what was the
happened-
politics he was
It
riddling
was
off?
some kind of TDS thing. It was something anti-conservative, and
Surprise.
whatever it was.
Hollywood, yeah.
I don't even care what it is. But it was funny though. I just happened to have gotten up at that exact moment to leave because I got my shot.
Great story.
And so I'm walking. He's like, "You sit down, you." And I'm like,
Listen to every word I say.
and so I sat down because I felt targeted, and then everyone was looking at me. And again, I wasn't even making a political statement. I was just done getting my shot.
Well, it was the MAGA hat,
Yeah.
I think, that probably gave it away.
Well, what's crazy is like, so the first two seasons of Picard, like the first season of Picard, Patrick Stewart had a lot of say in, and he wanted to make it an allegory for Brexit. And then for the second season, it was an allegory on Trump's America with like
Yeah.
the immigration,
The
and
immigration,
stuff and all
the
that stuff.
immigration thing was crazy because I didn't think season one was actually as bad as everybody thought. I didn't like it. I mean, obviously there's a lot of elements that I didn't like. Yeah, to me, it wasn't really true to the spirit of Star Trek or to Next Generation, which I loved.
It
But
certainly
I
was.
didn't. I wasn't like I hate it. Like some people really hated Picard season one, and then season two came around, and I was just laughing. I mean, I was literally laughing
It
at the
was
episode
hysterically
straight
bad.
up.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
it was hysterically woke to the point where it was like it's like they're just like shoveling it down your throat. Like the immigration enforcement is evil, and all
Yeah.
immigrants are wonderful and beautiful people, and conservatives are
The
hateful.
ICE
and
agent. The
horrible.
ICE agent was like literally like a mustache twirling villain.
Yes,
like-
he could. He was like a Holocaust.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Guard.
Yeah, he
That's
was just like
security
pushing him
guard.
around for no reason. Yeah, and you know what's funny? They spent almost $10 million an episode to shoot in Los Angeles. So
$10
figure.
million. Is that true?
Yeah.
Back
Ian-
when I used to work at Stars Network, and we were doing pretty big productions there, I thought, and that was $4 million an episode. But this is like Paramount Plus, right? Like I don't understand.
Yeah, they put a
How
lot
are
of
they
money
making-
in the first couple seasons of Picard and all of Discovery. They
Yeah.
only
Yeah,
cheaped out recently on the last season of Picard.
The first season was most expensive, and it got a little less. And actually, one of the reasons they decided to go back to Earth was because they knew it was going to save them money. So, and they didn't want to do any ship stuff because that was going to cost them a fortune. So,
Oh, is that season 2?
season
right.
2. Yeah.
So,
yeah, there was a lot
instead of
of-
ship stuff, let's rent Los Angeles.
That's the city.
Well,
much
they
cheaper.
do need the money. Look at all the homeless people hanging out. So,
Oh man, and all those shots where they're like on like Alameda and 15th, and it's like all
Oh my
clean.
God,
I'm
it-
like, nope. I've been there. I was there yesterday. That shit ain't clean. I'm sorry.
Well, and also wasn't that in like 1997 or something like that?
Did they go
No,
back
it
in
was
time?
like 2023,
No, it was 2000.
bro.
Yeah, it was a modern age. I know Voyager went back.
Well, they
to
went
LA.
back in time, but they went back in time to today,
Right.
Because
Right.
I don't know if
It's
you're
the
aware
lamest
of this, Matt,
story
but, Star
ever.
Trek takes place
in the 25th
future.
century.
In the future.
Well, but
25th
I thought
century.
the Bell riots and stuff like that, or was it Khan's like
No, it was supposed to be
Yeah.
the Bell
The
riots
Bell
were
riots
happening in a
actually
couple
happened
years.
after that.
Right.
The next
I
couple
believe
years
it takes
after
place in the future in the year 2000.
that. Yes.
That's
Well,
a Conan
in-
O'Brien, that's
in-
an old Conan O'Brien joke. Do you remember the end of the year 2000?
in the year 2000.
Was it Space Seed that they talked about Khan's reign on Earth?
Yeah,
And,
the
what year did they say
late-
that?
I
took
think that
place
was
in?
1997.
That was the late
90s,
90s,
right?
Yeah,
But
so
then he ended up in
Khan was the Khan thing was supposed to happen in the late 90s, and then you had the Bell riots in the mid 2020s, and then you had World War III. So the fact that one of the main characters was like, "I'm gonna stay behind. This is where I meant." When in like 2 years the whole world was gonna be on fire, was the most ridiculous thing ever. And
to be fair,
knows
he
it.
wasn't happy with staying behind either. He didn't want to stay. He knew he wasn't going to be in season 3. That's why he stayed behind.
So how come when they always go back in time, they don't see these events happen?
Even
And
as
it's
far
always
as, like,
just LA on a
so-
normal day. It's not
Yeah.
like a Holocaust or something.
I
Like
know,
what's going on with
because
that?
they can't
Yeah.
afford it. How about this? when Picard and company go back to Guinan's bar, there's a picture of the guy who stayed behind with his family, like nothing happened.
He just lived a happy
Look,
life.
He
look,
just
this
lived
is
a
what you
happy
do. If-
life, died of old age.
If I'm gonna write the next Star Trek season, right, whatever that show might be, I'm gonna hire Shane.
okay,
Right,
yeah,
and
I'm
he's
down.
good because the thing
I
is,
did.
like, they must have guys on set, right? Going, oh, actually, this doesn't make sense.
Nope.
You
Nope.
know?
They don't have anyone like that.
That's what Shane does every time he makes a point. He
That
goes,
was that was Terry Matalas on season.
That's why
3.
season
You
3
can't
was so
do that.
good. Because the thing is, the showrunner has to have a set of testicles too, though, man. Because like even if the writers have ideas, they can just yell out. Like I believe Akiva Goldsman is a Star Trek fan, but I believe he's sort of a pushover. So these really poor, insanely woke writers just sort of run over him with these really bad ideas. I really believe that.
Right.
And we got a super
Okay.
chat from Ian Smith, and I got a surprise for Ian. This is going to be read by Doom Glock himself.
Hey guys, love the stream.
Glock?
A lot of disco fans like it because of
Who's
the woke
that?
stuff.
He's Doom.
They
Block.
are the Twitter.
Oh, my
mob,
Doomglock?
like
No,
Shane
Brian
was
is
saying.
Doom.
You
Block,
can't hear it,
but I
And
don't know.
They are
What are you
loud.
doing?
Nobody knows what's going on right
Yeah,
now.
you guys can hear it, but the stream can't.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Hey guys, love the stream. A lot of disco fans like
See what
it
I have to
because of
deal
the
with all
woke
the time?
stuff. They are the Twitter mob, like Shane was saying, and they are loud.
Yes. No, it's
is
true.
it the Twitter mob anymore? Because isn't Twitter slowly being taken over by both sides now? It's like the wild west on Twitter.
Well,
Yeah.
it started out that way. You know,
It's like Dr. Jaborgi guarding against the great big butthole in
Butthole in
space.
space.
Yeah, they are the guardians at the gate.
Someone
Keeping
fed
us
the butthole
safe
Pepto
from all
Bismol.
the
It's gonna be a
trolls.
rough day.
Yeah. Remember at the end of season 2 when like the fart of doom erupted from the great giant space butthole, and the Borg just took it. The new Borg just
in
took
the
it like a champ.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't watch season 2.
Took it
but
right
it's
in the
still
face.
funny.
all I remember is Picard's mom like hanging from something. So I have this like burned in my heart. I remember I'm like,
So this
Yeah,
mom
what? Hung herself.
What the? Okay.
Reagan. Let me describe season 2 for you. Ready? Here we go.
Oh, I've seen season 2.
I haven't.
Picard gets thrown back in time to deal with the fact that his mother committed suicide,
Yes.
and then he gets chased by ICE agents, and then one of his crewmates turns into the Borg Queen, goes back in time. So wild and so- There's that
No,
one-
I don't know. I try not to swear on air normally, but can I swear on this show?
yeah, you can. Yes.
What the fuck happened? I mean, honestly, who was like, you know what we need to do? We need to give Picard childhood trauma. Let's
I
make him
think that
watch
was a
his-
Patrick Stewart thing.
Yeah, it was
No.
Patrick Stewart.
It was both of them.
What?
It was
No.
Akiva and Patrick.
Let's
So
have entire
yeah, so-
episodes where we just show your mom hanging from a noose.
Yeah. Okay.
was- yeah.
Listen. Here's a clue for Hollywood producers. Do not let
The actors.
feel good. Oh, I need to have it. You know, this kind of like inspiration for my character. Don't let them write the script for
Right.
you.
They can't
They
write.
can do all of their own sort of backstory crap
Right.
for whatever they need in their head.
Yeah.
But you don't actually put that on the show because that's I mean, it was a terrible story. Him like running around the labyrinth of his old house. When
Oh,
he was
the
a kid,
labyrinth.
Well, and we had a double bad because not only was it Picard saying, yeah, let's explore Picard's trauma as a child, but you had Akiva who needed to explore his own trauma with his mother.
Right.
So it's like he wanted to do it, and then Patrick wanted to do it, and everybody else is like, oh shit, I guess this is where we're going. Oh my god.
And then what was with the World War II thing with like the Nazi content, like the hideout for the Jews, and that's
you
Picard's
guys
Jewish or something?
You guys want to know
What the
what
hell?
trauma I'm dealing with is having to watch Raffi and Seven charge heavily armed assimilated
was-
mercenaries with knives
Yeah.
and win.
Okay.
I know.
When Matt
I know.
says heavily armed, like they're carrying submachine guns in like M16s. Like they it's like 30
Yeah.
board
And you have these two 90-pound women with like little knife.
with
They're
little
like
kitchen
"Charge!"
knives.
You know
like,
what they should have done that actually would have been
And then
would have
they
made that
they just
scene
cut
good.
to 7M9 and Raffi succeeding. Like
Yeah, the next thing you
They
know,
charge-
they're on the Lost Arena and they're just like, "Ooh, that was a dicey."
What they could have done to make that scene good is they just should have played, some like, I'll tell you what I want, what I really want.
Yeah, some Spice Girls.
Some girl power.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
that would have been hilarious.
Do it.
We
Do
all
it.
would have
it
loved
would have been cooler if
you
it was
know?
like a Taylor Swift thing, maybe.
Yeah,
like an
you need to do
ex-boyfriend
that
his.
for this show.
I'm the problem, it's me.
Yeah.
Stabbing everybody.
Yeah, like
Stabbing
men
poor-
100 pounds heavier than them, twice their
And
size.
flipped over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
going
absolutely.
down.
They're
And they should have only been able to-
they're armed to the teeth with modern weapons.
They should have only been able to use weapons on their outside hands because they're holding hands with their inside hands. Right? It's only
Yeah, there
like-
was some like lesbian subplot that just disappeared in season 3.
Oh.
Yeah,
There's
it
some
was gone.
Borg thing that
Well,
disappeared in season 3.
That's a great segue. I was going to ask you guys because you know more about the potential of Legacy than anybody else I know. But I saw a comment. I can't remember where it was, but somebody was like, "Oh, that's just more Kurtzman Trek because they got the lesbian couple in charge of the I guess now the renamed Enterprise
Enterprise.
G-Spot, and we're gonna have the lesbian couple
see that
lead the
coming.
crew, and then we're gonna have our whipping boy Jack Crusher on the side as an ensign." Who is I guess he's a counselor or
He's a
something
counselor, special counselor. to the
Special
captain.
counselor to the captain for
So-
no reason.
So you can weave the narrative however you want. So that's the kind of interesting thing about people and their opinions. And it's like if you are like hate New Trek, and I'm looking at all of you Doomcock cultists out there who attack us all the time about saying this is the same old shit.
Just to clarify, that is not who I was referencing
Oh,
at
gotcha. Well, all the people attacking us on Twitter all the time say the same thing. And what I would say to them is you can make up anything you want. So what do we know about Seven and Raffi, right? What did Terry Matalas do? He muted that relationship.
all. Right.
Until
Now we know from season 1, the weird damn final episode where they're panning through the La Serena bridge and you see Seven holding Raffi's hand, and I paused my TV and said, what the hell just happened? You know, I mean, like, why are they
There was
holding
no
hands?
setup to that. It just happened.
And-
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And not because they can't be gay, okay? Because I don't care who's gay or who's not gay. But Seven was
I
with-
care who's gay and who's not gay.
Okay, well, Reagan does, but you know, that's fine by me.
That's at Mr. Reagan on
Yeah,
Twitter.
I care who's gay or not gay.
Good luck, everyone.
If you want Seven to be gay, though, she's got to earn it, right? So,
Yeah.
So
Well, she dated like 3 dudes on Voyager.
right.
Well,
so,
but they also had that whole episode where she goes to the crime planet and Picard does the worst French accent ever, and
Oh,
and
Jesus.
the evil mob boss there was her former lesbian lover. So they set that up that she kind of switched teams.
What-
But
wait,
Raffi
no,
came
they
out
never said that,
came
though.
out of left.
By the way,
well,
they
I mean,
never said that.
Evil
no, it was
mob
pretty
boss
obvious.
was so
no, you
hot,
had
though.
to
God.
no, you had to read into that. So, and you did, and a lot of people do, and that's fine. You can read into whether or not it's
but I mean,
sexual.
like it's set up for her switch at the end, but Raffi
They
just
didn't
came
do
out
that
of
on
left
purpose.
field.
But just so
completely
you
came out of
know,
left field.
that was not on purpose.
It's
They
a
didn't set it up.
retcon thing. It's like
Yeah.
like
Oh,
Harry
no.
Potter and, what's his name?
Shane, tell the reason why they were actually in that scene at the very end.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah, go ahead, Shane.
okay.
This was
So-
not part of the script, by the way. Go ahead.
It was not intentional to make her gay at all. It's when they got towards the end, they were at this party and they were all having drinks, and it was some get together thing.
You're
And they
talking
made
about
a
the
joke.
producers and stuff.
Like the producers,
Yeah.
actors, the writers, everybody was together. And Michelle Hurd and Jerry Ryan were just hanging out, having a good time, and they're like, "Oh, pretending, oh yeah, we're lesbians." But there was like a joke, right?
Okay.
Because as we all know, Jerry Ryan is a little more conservative than most of Hollywood.
Oh, is that true?
She is.
Yeah,
She's,
she was married
she
to
used
a
to be married to a
Republican
Republican.
senator.
Yeah.
You know
And
what's
so-
funny? In the 90s, I kind of had the hots for that chick.
Everybody did. That's why they.
I don't know if you guys
Everybody
liked
did.
her, but
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why
I was
she was on
intensely
Voyager.
attracted to that
She
woman.
was literally on Voyager because everybody was like, "There's not really any hot chicks." In
I
this
think
show.
I'm heterosexual
What's funny
because
is
of her.
she's still hot.
Yeah.
You know,
She
so-
is. She is.
Yeah. So basically, they're having this big party, and they're like, hey, lesbians. And then all of a sudden, the writers went, yes, let's do that, right? And so it was like this all of a sudden thing, and everybody's like, yeah, And I think reports were that Jerry was like, we were just kidding, So they
Yeah.
threw it in there at the last minute, so it wasn't earned. If she had some sort of thing that occurred where she was actually with somebody, like what Matt said, if they had turned that into okay, well, she's obviously with girls now. Okay, well, now it makes more sense. So when you see him holding hands at the end, you're like, that it wasn't earned.
I'm having a little cognitive dissonance with the word "earned," but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, like so we don't believe
Story-wise.
it. It's let's say
We
this,
don't believe
it's
it.
unbelievable.
Properly
It's
set
not
up.
developed.
Properly
Yeah.
set up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, as a, I'm,
let me
Oh, go
dumb
ahead,
this
Brian,
down.
go
Ready? A couple drunk chicks at a party thought it would be a good idea to throw it in at the very end of the script.
yeah.
Well,
That's
it wasn't
exactly
even
It
what
wasn't their
though.
idea. They were just
It was
effing around. Yeah.
It was the writers. It was the
Which
writers.
chicks do at parties for a little bit of attention and to entertain everybody.
So
and
do
just to
guys.
have a little bit of fun.
Don't.
I was gonna say, I'm like, Reagan, you don't get drunk and mess around with guys at parties.
I've made out with Vader multiple times. He just he won't admit it. He won't admit it.
That was our secret, Alex.
Well, you guys are kind of good looking.
Don't
I
ever
don't know
touch me
what's
again.
I'm not. I'm just drunk. I'm just drunk.
It's the hair. Yeah, it's the hair for sure. We're the only people in here who have hair.
This is true, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I should say I'm the only person in here who doesn't have hair.
That's true. I spoke too soon.
Yeah,
Shane has
Shane,
hair.
you actually bear a striking resemblance to Russell Crowe.
Thank you.
There is a
Thank you.
Russell Crowe-ness to your face.
You're right,
your features.
especially in like the last thing he did where he was really fat. I mean, he was like a Greek god, right? And like you look at Russell Crowe and go, holy
yeah.
shit, who did Russell
He's
Crowe?
talking about Thor.
Shane, I love you.
I love you too.
This is why this show is good.
Wow, I was sitting next to Fat Russell Crowe this whole time.
Hashtag fat Russell Crowe right here, right now.
Eat it, critical drinker. We got him in our studio.
You got me for nothing. I would have broke it all down for you, man.
Can you do an Australian accent?
Oh my
Oh my,
god.
you know I can.
All right, there you go.
Bloody hell.
Perfect.
Hey, we got a
That
super
old
chat
world
from
is
Michael Nemo. Have you all come across people that say they all love they love all Trek and don't understand any disdain for Kurtzman? They make me feel like I'm just an ass. Well, those
Welcome to the club.
yeah. No, we've come across those people. I don't think they are like either they're hyper fans or they're casual fans, but they're not. I don't think they're like us.
When I was a kid, and they brought out, I guess I was like 18 or something, and the prequels occurred, the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, this is not Star Wars. This is something else.
Oh, I hate
And
it.
everyone hated them. I mean,
hate them.
everyone.
Yeah.
And then we get
Shane
to
loves
today,
it.
and there's all
Shane
these.
loves the
there's yeah.
prequels.
I
Well,
do,
there's all
actually.
these YouTubers
Mhm.
now that just love the prequels,
Mhm.
and they grew up with them. They were like 5 years old or something when they came out. And
Right.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Alex.
whoa,
whoa, whoa.
And- but it's-
whoa. Hold on a second.
It's this weird thing.
He just called my
Misa
whole
Jaja.
movie critic
Misa
existence in
Jedi.
question. I have to specify now. I was 10 when those movies came out.
Oh, double. that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Damn.
I was the age that George
Right.
Lucas was targeting. I loved him growing up, but what I say and I've told you this before, you son of a bitch. I always say those movies did not age with me.
Mm.
I loved them when I was a kid,
Sure.
but as I grew, the original trilogy aged with me, and I can appreciate them
Yeah.
more now than I did before. And the prequels, they stayed at that young age. They did
I
not
think
age with me.
I think Star Wars has a mythology. The original trilogy has a mythology that you can appreciate as an adult. The prequels, I think, are a little bit more kid oriented.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So as an
Jar Jar
adult now, I look
Binks?
back. Yeah, exactly. And I think like, okay, how can anyone like those? But I mean, there are people that really do like them. And so the Kurtzman stuff, maybe if you're young enough and you don't really care that much about, the original Star Wars, the original series, or you don't care that much about Next Generation or whatever, maybe you don't mind that Mikey chick and all the weird
You've
shit.
nailed it on the head.
You know?
So
Yeah.
that's exactly it. So, Michael, really great point you made here, because they don't understand the disdain for Kurtzman, because they don't understand why we think Star Trek is bad. And it's not their fault that they don't understand. They just didn't experience it with us. And so I think that's a really great analogy that you made. If they had loved the characters and loved Star Trek the way that we had growing up, then they would be like, oh, well, you know, Spock shouldn't have a sister named Michael Burnham. It doesn't make any sense, right? That's just like, oh, so Spock owes everything that happened to him to Michael Burnham. Okay, cool. You know, so
It's bizarre that just stating that is so funny.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
just stating what they did is just
well, they
hilarious.
can go 10 years into the future. Do this. All new Trek fans do this, okay? So a new Star Trek show comes out 20 years from now, okay? And I want you to imagine this. And it's all about Michael Burnham when she's really young, okay? And Michael Burnham now has a twin sister. And we find out that everything that Michael Burnham did is pointless at this point.
It's all due to the
How do you
sister.
feel?
Yeah.
Right.
No, twin brother who's trans.
Or whatever you want to do, right? So I want you to put yourself in that place. If you love that character and now they go back and change that character, aren't you pissed?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we felt. And so if you should be able to understand that. And so I think really good point, Michael. That's what we're running across. You should not feel like an ass if people don't understand the disdain for Kurtzman, because you're right to feel the way you feel.
Yeah, you know what? The funniest thing during Discovery, like season 2 or 3, it was one of the funniest days of my life. I was sitting there watching. I think it was Nerdrotic actually, and he was watching like the writers' room talk about how all the writers in this season of Discovery are women or whatever, and one of the writers goes, you know, and we thought he had this idea. Why can't Spock have a sister? And the interviewer's like, oh yeah. He goes, like, but really, why can't he have a sister? And Gary's like, because he didn't have a sister. And I laughed for like 2 hours straight. I couldn't control myself.
That's true.
That's what happens when you don't watch shows that came before the show that you're working on, and you're like, I never watched the original series. Maybe you should if you're writing a story about these
Yeah,
characters.
you should. I think you should. I think you should be well versed at least in what you're writing. Like,
Yeah.
or, you know what?
yeah.
Oh, you know what? There's like an entire website out there where you can just like search up things. You don't even have to
Well,
watch.
I mean, there's only we're talking about Strange New Worlds, right? There's only 3 seasons of the original series. How long is that really going to take you to watch in preparation for writing a new show? That's what, like, if I'm in charge of writing a show that has a short prequel series that I have to reference, why not just take the time to reference
I'm
it?
sorry.
And
I'm gonna
we're-
play devil's advocate. There's like 22 episodes per season, though. It's not like modern day
That's
seasons.
still
It's
not
like
that much.
it's like 10 seasons in modern day time, bro.
Brian, how much money are they getting paid to do the next show, though? I mean,
I don't know. Yeah.
we often, what we do as a job, we often have to watch crap that
Yeah.
we do not want to
Mhm,
watch,
mhm.
right? And how much do we get paid?
Zero.
You know what I mean? Like,
Not enough.
Whoa, how much was that super chat? $5. That's
I made
Well, YouTube takes
$317
30%.
last
true
month.
too, yeah. No, but it, like even for our podcast, which again I do it just out of I love doing it, and you know we're not full time yet, but we are making some. For me, I'm like, this is incredible.
10,000 subs, guys.
Well, yeah, we hit 10K subs, which is
That's
great.
awesome,
so I'm
man.
not complaining about doing it. But when
Let's
Katie's
go.
like, hey, we should review this show because we're going to talk about this other show, I'm like, well, how many seasons are there? 2. Okay, how many episodes? There's like 12, 13 episodes. All right, you buckle down and you do it so that you can go into the 3rd season or 4th season knowing what came before. It doesn't feel any different to me.
But then there are those situations like with Halo where we are
Oh, we
really
hate
excited
watching
to watch it,
yeah.
and then we find out how bad it is, and we've already committed, and we're like, we got to see it through to the end.
Yeah, for sure.
Like remember Invasion
God.
on Apple TV
Yeah,
reviews.
Dude, I went in like Sam Neill was on the marquee for this Apple TV show Invasion. I was
And
like,
Alex is a huge Sam.
I
Neill
want
fan.
that dude to be my uncle. I love Sam Neill.
Yeah,
He's
he's great.
freaking.
Is that the
he's
guy with the
cool.
giant
So-
mustache?
No,
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 well,
that's-
he had a
no.
he had a giant
no,
mustache.
that's Sam.
That's
Ken-
Sam Elliott.
Elliott.
Sam Elliott. Yeah,
Talking
no,
Talking about
Sam-
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, Sam Neill is
Sam
Dr.
Neill,
Grant
that's
from
right,
Jurassic
yeah.
Park.
Yes.
But anyway, he was like marqueed for this big show on Apple TV, and what did he die in like this first
He
episode?
died at the end of the first
The
episode.
first episode, they killed his character off, and we still have like 10 episodes to go. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Wow.
I got hoodwinked.
That's
Yeah.
messed
But-
up.
As a podcast, we said we're going to review this show week to week. And at that point, after the first episode, I'm like, why am I watching this show?
Oh, it was so
happens.
bad, and like we had to break it down by subplot, right? So
Yeah.
like we go through each plot in each episode, and we'd always end it with Sam Neill's still dead.
Sam Neill's an odd guy to be like one of your favorite guys, because it's not that he's not good. I like Sam Neill, but he's not in like a ton of epic projects.
He's a character actor for sure.
Yeah, right.
He's like Red October. He's a side character.
What's the sci-fi one where there was a
the
weird...
only reason Alex loves Sam
Event
Neill
Horizon
is because
Event Horizon
because he's the biggest Jurassic Park fan you'll ever
Well,
meet.
I was going to say he was
he's-
like 8 or 7.
This
when
guy
that
right
came out,
here.
right?
I was
How
5. It was the first
5.
movie I ever saw in theaters. My dad took me, and I was scared out of my mind, and I watched it 10 times.
Oh no, it's a beautiful movie, and
Yeah.
it was a tragic misstep not to cast Sam Neill in all the subsequent sequels. I feel like, you know,
Oh,
he was,
the world movies, the Jurassic World stuff.
no, even like I think the second one was.
Oh, they got Jeff Goldblum because
Yeah,
he was a bigger actor at the time, so they were like, let's have the sequel with Jeff Goldblum.
yeah, but that's I don't know. I
well,
always
that's based
felt
off the book.
I don't care.
Dr. Grant wasn't in the book.
I don't care.
Well, you
He
should.
was, he
Well,
was
hold
everyone's
on.
favorite character.
Hold on. If you're gonna base something off source material, you can't just be like, we don't want that guy. Let's get the exciting guy from the first movie. That would be going against the source material.
It's also about money, too.
But Alex, look at him. He's dressed just like Dr.
Oh my God, you are. Oh, you are too.
I just need the hat.
With the smug look.
I've been thinking about buying a
Life finds
fedora.
a way.
Yeah.
Life does find a way.
Stutter. For now on, just
find a way.
stutter a
No,
lot.
Chris, you literally look like Ian Malcolm. Right
Oh, you're
now.
talking about the other. Oh,
Yeah, bro. And walk around with the book and talk about chaos theory a lot.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect.
And then get real creepy with
now,
women and
now
talk
I'm here
about-
by myself, talking to myself.
That's perfect. That was perfect.
Perfect, bro.
Yeah.
All right, so bring it back to Star Trek. My point was, I don't see it as unreasonable to expect these writers who are working on these shows to go back and watch the previous shows that they are working on stories
Right.
with.
But you have to have a showrunner who requires them to do so.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
all part of the problem. Who's in charge? Who's leading this thing? And when you have, Michelle Paradise, who's done a whole bunch of stuff, takes over Discovery. I mean, she didn't even get it till season 3.
Mhm.
So, you got people before that who set the tone in the writing room. So if they don't require their people to go back and be experts at Star Trek, then, what are you supposed to do?
That reminds me a lot of Kathleen Kennedy's statement about how Star Wars has no source
Oh my
material.
God.
So her saying that,
So
you know that no one working on Star Wars read any of the books,
Yep.
any of the comic
Right.
books, watched any of the TV shows. It was mind blowing that she was able to actually say that with a straight face
Well,
and
her-
believe it.
her
Shit, wait,
whole
hold on.
attitude-
I just got a great idea. What if
Yeah.
when Kathleen Kennedy gets fired, Alex Kurtzman hires her to do Star Trek? Will Doomcock just have a heart attack on stream?
Oh, no, Doomcock will start swimming in his pile of money like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah,
right,
Because he will have content until the end
endless
of
videos.
time. Yeah.
Endless videos.
Actually, we need to call him Doom Crotch because Chris Gore told a really great story while he was here about how he started calling him Doom Crotch because he didn't want to call him Doom Cock, and it kind of picked up and took off. So
That's a new
really
thing
fun
now?
story. Yeah.
Hashtag
Doom
Doomcroc.
It's the G-rated version of the name.
Oh, okay.
Right,
I just used to call him Mr. Cock.
So like totally RX
It's
rated.
got respect,
so,
put
Well,
respect
well,
on it.
well, you mean
Mr.
put respect
rooster.
on Dick's name. That's what I'm talking about right now. Richard,
It's a
sorry.
rooster, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a super chat from
Wait,
Michael
Chris-
Nemo. Saru was
Yeah.
weak because he's a man. Women are strong.
Oh dang! Are we gonna go there again? They killed off every white man on the first.
Oh my
season
god,
of
that was
Discovery that showed up,
hilarious.
so-
So I remember watching. I was watching. I think Nitpicking Nerd before. I wasn't watching the series at the time, and he was like, "Why is it that every time a white man comes on this show, they immediately get killed? This is not normal. This is almost offensive. I do not understand." And I'm like,
Did they
this
at
guy-
least put him in red shirts?
I was like, this
No,
guy's got to be doing a
do you-
bit,
do you
right?
guys-
It can't
guys
be
remember the-
every white guy.
Do you guys
It was
remember
right.
the
It was.
mansplainer in season at the beginning of season
I
2?
do.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
No.
they killed
Yeah.
him right away.
So
Nope.
he was a blue shirt,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
But he was a mansplainer, so he was in the middle of mansplaining when he died.
Well, if you think about all the white guys who were on the first season of it's Lorca who's evil,
Yeah.
right? It's I guess Saru who's technically a white guy, but he's an alien.
Hmm.
And then you got the guy who was the Klingon. They turned him into a human, right, to look like a
No,
human.
no, he wasn't white though. He was Middle Eastern or Hebrew, something like
I
that.
don't know. I don't remember.
I still think that's partially white to some degree.
I don't know.
Anyways,
Clip
Well,
that.
this is another this is another parallel
Well-
to Star Wars. What they do in Star Wars.
well, think about it. You got three. Well, if you want to go there, we've got Caucasoids, Negroids, and you've got metazoids, I think, right? So you got 3 races of human beings,
Yeah.
right? So the Asian type, you have the black
Yeah.
type, and the white type.
Yeah.
So those people in the middle, right? They're a combination of something. I'm telling you right now. So all of the Middle Eastern people are a combination of some of those things. So
Yeah,
Alright.
but I think the only white guy in Discovery first season was Lorca.
he was evil.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing they did with Star Wars. Again, it's like there's some kind of collaboration between people working in sci-fi. Let's destroy all
Yeah.
sci-fi.
But then in season 2, after Mansplainer died, you had Pike, and Pike's like the only good white guy in
right.
the show.
Well, you got
Pike-
Stamets was good, but he was
But
not.
he's gay, so
He's
he's, not
gay,
technically
so
white.
Yeah, he gets a pass.
Pike reminds me of the new Budweiser ad with the horse, where they're like the spirit of America.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I always
For
felt
sure.
like Pike was like a little too masculine. He's
He
just
was-
like he shows up with a beard at the beginning.
He was very
Yeah.
understanding.
And he's
and cooks really
barbecuing.
well.
Well,
And he has
Yeah.
great hair.
And he has
Yeah.
great hair.
He
yeah,
literally
put it that way,
barbecues
because
every
all the
episode.
Pissed off guys like us were like, where the hell are all the tough white guys? Like,
Exactly.
oh, we got one.
We got
Yeah,
one.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
He's the most popular character on that show.
Hey, we got
The
a
best
super
part of season 2.
we got a super chat from Latino Slant. He says,
Oh,
Mr.
Pauly.
Reagan,
What's up, Pauly?
who are better swimmers, Cubans or Mexicans?
Jesus Christ.
You got that one? Cubans or Mexicans? Who are the better swimmers?
Oh man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
I think we got to say Cubans, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
they got to swim
They
further.
gotta swim further.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got to swim further.
Yeah.
They got the
Pauly.
endurance, right?
Listen,
Right?
man, have you
It's longer
seen
to
those
Florida.
those rafts that they build?
Dude,
I'm impressed.
it's impressive.
That
right?
is impressive work.
If you want to get to America bad enough, let those people in, please.
Yeah,
Because they really work hard to get here.
that's how I feel. Like, look, if all you had to do was like cross the fence, no. But if you had to build a makeshift raft out of trash
Dude,
and then
have
float
you-
across
have
the
you seen the
ocean, you
guys-
deserve to be here more than me.
You're gonna piss Polly off.
Have you seen the?
yeah,
have
he's
you
not
seen
about
the,
that.
Have you guys seen the videos of the makeshift submarine that they made to smuggle cocaine?
Oh,
in?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yes,
I
I
believe
have.
that
That was
anything for that.
incredible.
Yeah.
It was a
That's next level.
submarine.
Yeah.
It was literally under the water. And
They
this
made a
Coast Guard guy
submarine.
with his cell phone was like, "Hey guys, what are you doing?" They opened the hatch, and I'm like, "How did you build a submarine out of a '57 Chevy? Like, what is happening right now?"
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It's like,
The
it's like
people
some
with
oil
the-
drums.
Yeah.
There's that old saying: the people with the most ingenuity in the world are drug runners. We don't know that.
Oh,
Our-
look
our
at the
criminals.
tunnels they
Our
built
criminals,
underneath from Mexico to America. They have tunnels.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
going underneath.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
For sure.
Hey, thank you for that Latino Slant, Paulie. If you guys haven't gone over to check out his channel, he is fantastic, and you have to see this week's winner. I'll just say, I'll leave it at that. So
Well,
go
we
check
had
it
a discussion yesterday. This is
Yeah.
why he threw this up here. I don't know. He was joking around about this concept of the wet back, right? This
Say that
racial.
closer together. Like you
No.
said it separately.
No.
Just space
The
it out.
wet-
No,
Space
no,
it
I
out.
left a little.
There's a
that was
comment.
intentional.
I need a
That was
full
intentional.
breath, a full breath in between those two words.
Yes, I put a whole breath. I did.
Right.
Yes.
Now, now,
Intentionally.
in all fairness, Paulie started the conversation, so
Yes.
you're off the hook.
He's talking about how in what was the
Wakanda
movie
Forever.
Wakanda Forever, the villain like
Namor.
literally is wet, right? Because he's like he runs, you know,
that
and-
movie's so
and-
racist.
exactly, and he's got to get dried off, right, in order to lose his powers or whatever. And then they get this big shot of his back, and they're like, "Look, it is a guy with a wet back getting dried off by the black Wakandans, whatever."
More pause.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
More.
Wet breath back, and I made the observation. I was like, it's weird that Mexicans are such good swimmers, but blacks can't swim at all, right?
To go one step
No.
deeper
Why?
into
Why
it,
not?
right?
Oh my
And
God.
it was a joke, right? It was
Oh
a
my
joke,
God.
and we went into it, and
Oh.
somebody made the observation that they probably don't have pools in the inner city.
Yes, that was me.
And yeah, it's Shane, and I'm like, I never thought about that. It became very solemn and serious all of a sudden. We all took a moment.
We said we need to change the conversation.
Yeah.
Where did this happen? Thank you for
And
the
we said
super
we
chat.
need social change.
That super chat just got your channel demonetized.
That's right. We have to come work for you guys then.
Thanks, Paulie.
Thanks, Polly.
Well, I will be back in 2 months, guys.
90-day block.
From Tea and Toys, the Enterprise was apparently refitted twice after Strange New Worlds, but they didn't repair the hologram system twice. It was completely missing in TNG and Voyager. Right,
Oh yeah, that's true.
right. And this is what makes me the most upset about that. It's part of the official like the official wiki.
I know.
It's an official reason as to why it doesn't exist. It's the laziest thing it's almost as lazy as saying we need a new character. Wait, did Spock have a sister?
You know what it is better than, though? It's better than them continuing to do it in forward shows.
That's true.
So I would have rather them have a stupid reason for stopping doing it than to make it worse by just driving through.
But this comes back to my point about the timelines. If they just said that this all happens in a different timeline, then it'd be okay. But the thing is like they've never come out and said, okay, what timeline are we? I know you guys are like, oh, it's the prime timeline for Picard. Obviously, it's like, is it though?
Is that what we sound like to you?
Yeah. I mean, listen, you sound like wishful thinking, which I get. Like we all wish, like, oh, maybe they should have just started over. But the fact of the matter is that they've made it canon. So.
I'm not saying that they need to start over. I'm just saying that whenever you're telling a story, it makes sense to be very clear with your audience what's going on, because it prevents stuff like this from happening, right? So like if they just said that like, oh, Strange New Worlds takes place in an alternate universe timeline that's parallel with like the original series timeline or something like that, then all these issues just kind of go away, right?
Well, I heard that at the end of the new season of Strange New World, Spock wakes up and he's like, whoa, that was a weird dream. That was a weird dream. Yeah.
That's the best retcon ever. That's how you do it right there.
Exactly.
Guys, if you haven't seen this, okay, go to our main channel. Not this one, our main channel. It's called The Secret Reboot. Okay, The Secret Reboot. Right there. It's got 166,000 views. Go watch that, and all your questions, Matt, will be answered. We answered every
you know what?
question.
I think part of that script was actually written after reading what Matt wrote about some stuff. So I think it actually... Go back and read what you wrote before. And
I've written a lot, so you're gonna have to be more
no,
specific.
this one wasn't Matt. This one was.
Is that another one?
This one was Salty
the Untold
Trekker.
Story. Which one?
The Untold Story was Matt. This one was Salty Trekker.
Yeah, I lose track. We've done 100 and some of these things, so
I've written 266 videos.
Wow. All right, too many. Keep going.
I will say that the video where I pointed out the Jaborgi situation has been blowing up for us.
Oh yeah, it's I think it might be one of our top videos. It's a 5-minute video about Kadish complaining about something, and it's our top video on our YouTube
People
channel.
love to see me complain.
It drives me insane.
Alex, this is your new format. Just Kadish complaining every day.
I should just give up and give him the show and be like, "Here you go, man. You're obviously more successful to me, so I'm gonna go."
Some people are funny. I had a buddy. I used to live in Toronto, and there was this guy, and he would come back from his day, and he would just bitch about his day, and it was like one of the funniest things I ever heard in my life.
I would listen to Matt Vader complain about his day before I would listen to Kadish.
Well, yes, no, Matt Vader can literally complain about anything,
and it's hilarious,
and it's always funny. Yeah,
Reagan, have you ever listened to Adam Carolla?
Oh, I literally was listening to him on the way here in the car.
So Carolla, that's his thing. He just is really good at complaining and making it funny. That's like
some people are good at Matt. That's your thing, bro.
I'm not funny though.
No, he's dry.
You're funny because you're not trying to be funny.
Yes, exactly.
And that makes
people laugh at me.
Right.
We're not laughing with you.
Yeah, you're laughing at me.
Holy shit.
That's fair.
Straight laced.
Whoa, everybody come on.
He's like super serious about the Girardi board.
He's like, there's no fireworks in space. And I'm like, is he being serious right now?
I think Terry Matalas had the same reaction. I think Terry tweeted and he's like, oh, wait, you were serious?
You were serious? Complained about the fireworks from Frontier Day? Like,
upset about
we
the
have
fireworks.
transporters, bro.
You know what was funny is there was a comment during one of those streams like, what if it was just part of their view screen? What if there was actually no fireworks?
It was just a CGI.
It's just all augmented reality.
Yeah,
Michael Nemo for $2. Thank you, Michael. Nitpick: Titan becoming the Enterprise felt forced. Before Shane goes off on a tangent here, it's better than the alternative. I guarantee you that. The alternative to that was worse.
I've still not seen enough of the show to know what's going on.
It was actually considered to be the Picard. So instead of being the Enterprise, there was like discussion about whether it should be called the Picard or be called the Enterprise. And if you go back and look at the conversation that happens just before you see the Enterprise G, watch that conversation and think Star Trek, think the Picard. Okay. And watch that. And you'll get a whole new appreciation for the scene where Jack's telling John Luke, a name means everything.
You know what gets me about that though is like, So for the Titan, you would think that if they're going to rename it, they would rename it the Shaw after the captain who gave his life, trying to like save the day. And then the Excelsior would be renamed the Enterprise or something like that, because a year later they would have rebuilt the Excelsior.
Shaw dying broke you, didn't it?
It really did.
It didn't break me. I'm saying like the guy died trying to like save the universe by protecting like Picard and his crew.
Yeah.
And it was his ship. And so like if he died, like
Well,
the ship should be named after him,
At
right?
some point it would be, but
No,
it's too soon.
they're gonna
they'll
Too
eventually.
soon. They'll name a school after him.
You don't
It'll be
usually
fine.
name the ship right after somebody dies. It
The-
usually takes time.
One of
It
the
was a year
shuttles.
later.
One of the shuttles in the new
But,
Enterprise
like
will be
more
named
time,
the Shaw.
like 10 years.
They'll make a statue and then Antifa will pull it down.
In 2403.
Yes.
Which is the year that takes place.
Michael Neem over $2. Never give an actor creative control. Yeah, in most
Exactly.
cases,
Exactly.
I totally
Never.
agree.
yeah.
Never
most
do that.
cases.
Although,
And that was part of the thing with Picard. Go ahead, Brian.
I would say Deadpool was pretty much the original Deadpool. The first one was pretty much spearheaded by Ryan Reynolds completely. Like,
Right.
we didn't get that movie.
But
With
he's the
That's a
whole
little
movie.
bit different. He's not just an actor though.
Yeah, well, there's always exceptions to the rules, but
Yeah.
in general, you don't want the person who's starring in the show to be
Right.
able to dictate what the show's going to be. 'Cause then it-
Comedians are different because a lot of times in films you'll be like, okay, now we've done the script, now riff,
Yeah.
now ad lib. We'll see if you come up with something better, and they'll do 6
Right.
takes
Mhm.
of different lines.
Right.
That's
which
what
makes sense.
that's what Ghostbusters was essentially, just
Yeah.
a bunch of like
comedic actors
on
doing
the
that.
spot.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick Stewart, when they showed up to say we want to do a Picard show, he's like, get out of my damn face. Right? He didn't want to do it, and so finally, out of respect for Michael Chabon and Akiva, he agreed to meet them so that he could tell them face to face, I don't want to do the show. Right? So he met him face to face, and somehow they kind of talked him into doing it. But his thing was, I have to be in the writer's room. I have to be a part of this. And so they kind
I
of gave
see.
up the keys to
I
the
see.
ship right away. You
Mhm.
know,
That's what happened, I think, with Superman 4. Really?
well,
Christopher Reeves was like, I want creative control over this, and they were like, okay, yeah, that worked
bad
friggin' well.
idea. Yeah.
My father, I'm just going to throw this in here. My father, I talked to him about Picard the other day because he had tried to watch, I think, season 1 or
Mhm.
something. And I said, well, I've heard season 3 is good. Skip to season 3. He's like, look, Chris, I can't watch Picard. He reminds me of Joe Biden too much. He's like so old now that he can barely function.
I'll say this: compared to season 1 and 2, Patrick Stewart looks way better in this season. I don't know what they did. Maybe it's because they put a leather jacket on him like you, and he looks badass. But
Yeah.
I'm watching this season. I'm like, that is not the same guy
Well,
from 2 seasons ago.
Season 3 is Joe Biden on his medication to get him up.
Yeah,
right?
they
And
juiced him
season
up
1
with
and 2.
B12.
Right,
Yeah.
When
He's
they got
taking
him
his-
before he gets out there, he's like, hey, everybody. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know,
when they
I know
give
you
him
guys are making a
the
joke.
cocaine
Hold on.
shot.
Wait. Did you guys?
He was
Sorry,
100%
Brian, go
on
ahead, go ahead.
uppers. He had to be on uppers. Some kind of Adderall, maybe. I don't know.
Something.
Hold
Something.
on, guys. Are we talking about Picard? Or are
Both.
we talking about Joe Biden?
Yeah, both.
I'm confused here.
Did you guys see the entrance that he had in Ireland when he went to go visit that country?
No, what
Oh
happened?
my god, dude! They played Flogging Molly, like a loudspeaker.
I
Like,
did see this.
Like
I
he
did
was
see this.
entering a WWF
Is that real?
competition, and Joe Biden comes walking out to Flogging Molly, and I was like, "This is insane."
It's
was
pretty
weird.
entertaining.
That's
actually.
awesome.
Like, it's
And
like-
no, and he's
I can't stop watching it.
he's like Frankenstein.
Yeah.
man. He's barely.
the best.
He's like he's pointing out in the audience, like, "Hey, how you doing, guys?"
He's like, where am I right now?
So it's
It was
like his crew
hilarious.
is like,
Yeah.
let's do the what no one will expect. Flogging Molly.
Flogging Molly.
I also think Patrick Stewart was also, I mean, he was pumped because everybody around him was also pumped. Like, you know, if you look at Jonathan Frakes, he's
Yeah.
incredible
because it was a
season.
reunion season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
didn't want to do it. I mean, he fought it to the very end. He did not want to do a reunion. Even going into season 3, Terry had to like, you know, get him aside and be like, you know, he's told this story on, you know, many times, but he had to basically convince him to do it and say, look, you know, this is the natural conclusion for this character, and I want to, you know, do it well. And so when Patrick Stewart, he was all in, and once he was all in, you could see the energies back, the
Mhm.
make it so's or make it
Yeah.
so's again, you know, and everything's great. And he admitted that at the end of this thing, he ended up crying because it was so powerful
That's
for
awesome.
him. And
Well,
Plus he,
to bring it back to our dads again, my dad texted me. He said I didn't like seasons 1. I didn't watch season 2 because the energy wasn't there.
Right.
He's like, the reason why I loved TNG is because it seemed like everybody was having fun on set, and he's like season 3 felt just like that.
Yeah.
You know what
Everybody's
what
having
I
fun.
just found? I just found a Reading Rainbow episode that they've clipped together all the because it's all behind the scenes of Star Trek: The Next
They
Generation.
did one of those, yes.
And it's LeVar Burton, obviously, and he's going through and he's like, I play Geordie LaForge,
Right.
and this is Worf and all this. Look at Worf without his makeup, and and Michael, I forget his name. He's like,
Dorn,
he's like Worf walks with big steps. It's great. You get all this behind the scenes stuff.
That's
It's
awesome.
cool. It's Reading Rainbow. I think we all grew up with Reading Rainbow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually worked at the production company that made Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, you want
It was
to be
called RNC
traumatized?
Entertainment.
Watch
Yeah.
Reading Rainbow, and then in school be forced to watch Roots. It's like a really rough
That is traumatic, by the way.
What's going on right now?
Why are they doing that to him?
Why are they being
I think
so
Jordy!
That took a dark turn.
No, I feel like Roots quasi ruined America because I just did a video. Everybody should subscribe to my Mr. Reagan YouTube channel if you want to see this. I did a video. It's called "Slave Owners Were Not That Bad" or something like that. I can't
Jesus.
remember. Yeah.
Quick
West.
disclaimer:
Space,
he's
space.
alt-right.
Back.
Yeah. No. I think it's like they were not bad people or something like that.
Oh my god!
Because somebody found on Twitter.
Oh my god!
You're gonna really need to explain
I'm
that.
having a
years,
stroke
everybody.
right now in real time.
No, because there's this guy on Twitter that I follow, black guy by the way, and he found all of these interviews with former slaves, and it was crazy stuff, man. And they like these former slaves were like, "Oh yeah, I used to be owned by this family, and they're real good people, and we go see them every Christmas and exchange gifts and stuff." And I'm like, what? Like you're out on social calls with your former slave masters?
Yeah.
But they loved each other. I mean, really loved each other. Some of these slave families and some of these slave master families really actually cared about each other and were like family. They were really
This is
like
historical documented
historically documented. You got to watch my video.
That's wild.
And off to the side of the screen, you don't see it. It's like Jimmy Joe Ray's got a gun.
yeah.
Go ahead. Say it again.
Say how much. Tell us how much you love us. Tell us.
Christmas. Say Christmas.
Terrible.
You like the
But see,
barbecue?
This is the Hollywood caricature, right? So they created Roots, and everybody went, "Wow, slavery was basically like a horror movie."
Was, man.
No, I think probably yeah. Of
Well,
course,
there had to be a lot of it was really bad.
Everyone-
because they didn't want to do it anymore.
Well, okay.
The podcast is in no way associated with Mr.
Shane
Reagan
just destroyed your whole
channel.
argument.
They didn't want to do slavery anymore.
I'm fucking done.
No,
That was a mic drop. That was a mic drop.
That was it.
You're actually wrong. You're actually wrong.
They want to keep doing it.
If you look, yes,
Fucking Lincoln.
Danny's got your link. Danny's got the link of your channel.
yeah. Go ahead and click. I'll get all the hate mail. Send me the hate mail. Send me the hate mail.
God damn you, President Abraham Lincoln. What the hell were you thinking? They wanted to keep doing it.
Well, what's weird is that in a lot of these interviews, they're like, after slavery was very,
I
very
thought
difficult.
this was a Star Trek channel.
And they're like, we actually preferred back then. It's true. Read,
Oh my
watch
God.
my video.
I
Watch
don't
my video.
believe
You'll
it.
see.
I'm
I
going to
don't
watch
believe
your
it.
video.
Watch my video.
I'm going to do 10 Hail Marys before I do it, but I'm going to watch
No,
your
look,
video.
I'm not saying the horror show never existed. I'm
Okay.
just saying that was an extreme minority.
Yeah.
And then, there were people that were actually, cared for very well. And then there was everything in between. The history is nuanced. It's not just this one thing that it's like roots.
You're
and
giving
that's
Brian
it.
the twitch. I'm nervous.
This is real. This is real history.
God
Hey,
damn
Brian,
it,
this is
Mr.
your
Reagan,
fault.
just
Did you
whatever
have
you
a
do, Reagan, don't take your pants off right now, please.
I feel like I need to pee on the desk.
You're paying for it if you do.
I've actually spent an evening drinking with Gavin McGinnis, so it could happen. It
That
never
explains a
know.
lot.
He may
Christ.
have rubbed off on me a little.
From Astro Nerdboy for $2. And by the way, Astro Nerdboy, I'm so sorry that you're the next super chat right now. I'm so fucking sorry about that. It's just roll the dice, my bro. Hey, but prequel Star Wars.
What the?
I can't.
That's right. Anakin was a slave. He loved Watto. It was like a father.
He was a slave. Oh, shit.
My name is Anikan, and I'm a person.
By the way, guys, he loved it.
Did they have good Christmases together?
Yes.
Hey, what are you talking about? He left his mother there because his mother loved being a slave.
Alex is literally crying. He's literally crying.
Oh my god!
Oh my God!
I can't believe the conversation I'm having right now.
Jesus!
I am.
Watch the video, guys. It's true.
Record this one. Oh god! We're so gonna lose our channel.
Oh my
It's gonna
God!
be so funny.
What an unfortunate
Worth it.
super chat.
Hey, we went out.
It's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard, Chris.
It wasn't that bad, guys. It's 100% true. I stand by everything I've said today.
You know, I thought Latino Slant's super chat about Cubans or Mexicans was a little racist, and then we had this conversation.
Yeah, okay. No one's ever going to have me on this show ever again.
Or everyone's gonna have you on their show.
Yeah, man,
One
one
or the other.
One or the other.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
really,
on Fox News in a week, so.
hey, bro,
Well,
you
they
can
got rid of Carlson
take over for
Tucker.
Tucker.
Exactly. So I gotta
We need to
Carlson
replace it. Damn it! Well, get this Reagan guy. He's gonna say crazy shit all the time.
Let's put him on the screen.
Dude, Reagan's first show on Fox replacing the Tucker. Slavery wasn't bad.
No.
There's a bunch of guys. Yeah, you know what? I think he's right. Wasn't that bad? I'm gonna make this guy
you it wasn't so bad.
Reagan for president.
He already was president. Damn you!
Oh God.
I don't even know. I don't know how to recover from that.
Where
Okay.
we, Star Trek, right?
We're talking about Star Trek. We got a super chat from TN Toys. All these people sending in like Star Trek super chats, and we're on this topic. Star Trek Voyager has its faults, but it's established that Spock. I'm sorry, Star Trek Voyager
Keep reading. Maybe it'll make sense.
has its faults, but it's established that Spock grew up to become a better Vulcan because he was bullied for being mixed race by his Vulcan brother. Yes, that's true.
Okay.
Sidebar.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, he's talking about. I'm sorry, Star Trek 5. I apologize.
I mean, listen,
Oh,
it goes all the way back to TOS that obviously Star Trek, or he was being a half human was a problem.
Mhm.
You know, so getting back to racism, I guess. Even on Vulcan, there was racism against humans. So
Yeah.
there you go.
And you know, in Wrath of Khan.
Probably wasn't so bad.
But can Vulcan swim?
Can Vulcan
Vulcan
swim?
swim?
Well, even like we're watching the original series.
Okay, now it's our fault. Now we've done this.
Yeah, now you just keep poking the bear.
Reagan's like, dude, I'm over this.
Jesus. We're watching the original series, and Bones is just a freaking douchebag to Spock all the time.
Yeah, he's so
like,
mean.
You green-blooded piece of
green bastard.
God damn you.
But
You
Bones, they call him
half-breed.
half-breed. There's an episode where Captain Kirk, in order to trick a copy of him to show that he's not actually the real
Yes.
Captain Kirk, he thinks racist thoughts about Vulcans,
Right.
to get the copy of him to say racist things, so everybody will know it's not really Captain Kirk.
That's hilarious.
It's genius.
Yeah, it's great.
Fake Captain Kirk and Dr. McCoy are my people.
You are skating on thin ice. You push boundaries, I would be like, nope.
Reagan's like, you know what? McCoy seems like a good guy.
It would be easier to do this if some of you were not white. It would
Chris Gore is so glad he
Can-
slept
can
in on this.
someone
I'm
get-
telling you, he's in his bed right now going, oh my God.
Someone call Paulie. Let's get
Dodged
Paulie
a
on the
bullet
screen.
that one.
All right, so Rec thoughts for $5. I already have an edit done of the whole season as one movie. Okay, all right, so
Nice.
let's get that link, bro.
Sail the seven seas for that one.
Yeah, email me. I want thank you, Rec thoughts from G-Man. Wow, blown away by Picard season 3. Now we have a Constitution class Enterprise G, and we are not far from a J, whatever class that was. Thank you, Terry. Yes.
Yeah, the Enterprise G Spot.
It's the
I'm
Enterprise G.
calling
That's
it
the
that.
class.
That's the class.
Yeah.
It's the G Spot class.
Hey, here's a really
G
good
for
comment
legacy.
from Seti Zasi. Am I saying this name right, Shane? Sadi.
I don't know. I can't see it. Oh, let's see.
STE.
Zase. Yeah,
Zazi.
looks good to me.
I like to think there's a brand new ship somewhere that has to become the Enterprise G that is now named the Titan A or B. Yes, that's probably the case. There has to be a Titan, right?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, there should be a Titan. I mean, I think the reason why the Titan, some people talked about, well, they should have left the Titan or they should have retired the Titan or done something like that. But the whole point of the show was to show growth. So the reason the Titan did its job, and so now it became, the Enterprise G. I think that was the whole point of everybody had some sort of arc, and so they wanted the Titan to have an arc. If that's what Chris said, I think last Monday, right?
Yeah. Kenneth the Rogue.
I wasn't listening.
For $5.50. This needed to be in the member section. I'm afraid of the member section. When we go to the member section,
imagine what the member section's going to look like.
God,
oh, there's a member section?
Oh yeah,
there's a member section. I don't even. I don't.
Can I just say that video that I produced for my channel,
Let's talk about the member section.
not even censored by YouTube.
Okay.
Not even censored.
Reagan, no hey at all. We can talk about the member section. How about?
Yeah. Let's.
James Wallace, thank you again for screening Free Enterprise the other night. Great meeting you. I think he's talking to you, Matt.
Yeah, that was a great night.
Yeah, that was really cool. He said thanks for screening Free Enterprise. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. I had a great time. I was shocked at how many people were actually there. It was a bit of a hustle trying to fix what CBS kind of put a kibosh on, but we were super glad to be able to have both Robert Meyer Burnett and Chris Gore there that night to talk about those two movies that we screened. So thank you. I hope you had a great time, and it will be a regular thing. So if you're going to plan on coming here for either CinemaCon or for Nerdrotics meetup, we're also going to kind of align our thing with that. So next year, hopefully it'll be even bigger. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and a lot of people had a lot of good things to say about Free Enterprise.
Yeah.
I don't think very few people in the theater had actually seen it before.
I've never
Robert said that film is not available anywhere.
I know.
You cannot see it.
Yeah,
You can only see
the executive producer who owns the rights to it is just sitting on it. Like he's not allowing it to be distributed anywhere.
They were
Why is
saying
that?
that
It has something to do with he's, I don't know if I'm supposed to share this or not, but he's upset about a relationship he had that didn't work out. So
Oh,
I
I
mean,
didn't know that.
we got to see Shatner rap.
that was cool, right?
That was pretty wild.
That was like
That's pretty
awesome.
wild.
That
That was
ending
pretty
was
cool.
amazing. Yeah, you guys watch it just for the rap at least.
Yeah, this is not a super chat, but I want to highlight it. Dan Kiefer, this is like one of the 2 times I actually decided to watch their live stream.
Either I'm sorry or you're welcome. I'm not sure. What does that mean?
Yeah. Okay, guys.
I'm sorry.
No, that's cool, bro. Listen,
And you're welcome.
Right.
it has been 2 hours, more than 2 hours, so we are going to be going to the members section, and I'm sure we're going to have a whole lot of fun over there. I'm sorry I didn't set this up because I was too busy crying and twitching at the same time. But we are going to the member section. How do you get there? Well, it's easy. The link is in the description right there. You can do nothing and just let it take you there. If you don't want to become a member, that's totally cool. Come back on Monday at 2:00 for our Raw Rant, and Matt, Saturday at 10 a.m., right? So Saturday at 10 a.m. and Monday at 2:00. Go ahead.
We have our special guest this Saturday on the Salty Nerd channel, in addition to Brian, is Disparu. So he'll be on there joining our panel, talking about all types of stuff.
And yeah, we should also mention, Brian, that that's going to be cool. Definitely show up for that show. On Monday, we have a voice actress from the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yes.
And she's going to be coming out. She did Mario's mom, a bunch of Toads, and she's done like a ton of stuff you guys have seen before, probably. So show up to Raw Rant at 2:00 on Monday, and we're going to have her on the show, as well as Matt and Robert and a whole slew of
everyone message Odin and tell him to come on Monday so we can make fun of him for doubting Mario Brothers.
Oh, he deserves that.
I want him. I want him to eat the pineapple pizza on.
Yeah, he needs to come live on stream. Everyone tell him to come. All right, that's it, guys. We are going to the member section. Thank you so much for being here. If you can't join us, that's cool. We'll see you on Saturday and on Monday. You guys are awesome. We love you. Please don't cancel us after this show.
Come back next week.
Can I say go into the member section, because we're going to talk about trans rights.
No.
We're going to talk about the Jews.
It could happen. It could happen. So, listen, it costs a third of what one of these costs to come to the member stream, so you might as well show up.